It is opening day, presented by Home Depot. Welcome, everybody. On ESPN, Chipper Jones and the Braves taking on the Cincinnati Reds at New Look Synergy. On ESPN2, we'll see the three-time defending world champions, Roger Clemens and the Yankees, taking on the Royals in the Bronx. Some of you will see this matchup, White Sox and Indians, big matchup in the American League. And David Wells is on the hill making his White Sox debut. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our ESPN studios. Brian Kenny here. It is opening day and baseball in full swing as of right now. This afternoon, another great matchup, Darryl Kyle and Mike Hampton. Hampton now at the Rockies, Cards and Rockies, 4 Eastern time on ESPN. On ESPN2, you'll see the Padres and the Giants, another division champion coming back. That also at 4 Eastern time. Some will see you from the Philadelphia and the Florida Marlins. On 10 Eastern time, you'll see Oakland and Seattle. Another big matchup in the AL West. Tim Hudson versus Freddie Garcia. That's tonight, 10 Eastern time. So great matchups and baseball season in full swing. Again, some of you will see the defending world champions. You got the Braves and Reds and much more. Stay with us. We'll keep you up to date. Now out to your game.
Yankee Stadium in New York. For the 26th time, they raise a World Championship banner for the New York Yankees. Tradition. It is what holds the generations of baseball fans together. And there are some moments in some places where it just bleeds tradition. Welcome to opening day, Yankee Stadium. One of those places and one of those moments. Gary Thorne, Joe Morgan, hello everybody. Delighted to have you with us. Can they make it 4 World Championships in a row? That's what the Yankees are going to try and do this season. And Joe, you start talking about that despite some problems they have in the lineup. You look at the pitching and you go, well, maybe.
Well, you're right. They added Mike Mussina, which is another great arm to that already awesome starting rotation. And you say the Yankees are a much better team than they were at this point last year. But you still have to rely on the bullpen. They're going to have to find someone to replace Jeff Nelson to get to the best closer in the game, Mariano Rivera.
Kansas City would like to have something to say about that, a team that is just underrated. So a bunker mentality, it's us against them, Tony Muser says.
And I think that's great because they are underrated. They're never going to be rated with the Yankees or anyone else until they win a championship. But they have a lot of good young players on this ball club. And I think this year the key guy for them will be Carlos Beltran because he'll have to help replace Johnny Damon, who went to Oakland.
51 years in New York. The man, the voice, Bob Shepard.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time the Yankees would like to remember Larry Fisher. Larry was a great Yankee fan and supporter and a friend. We shall miss Larry Fisher. Please direct your attention now to the area near second base. The colors for today's game are being presented by the State University of New York Maritime College at Fort Schuyler. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. At the end of America the Beautiful, please be sure to direct your attention to the area underneath the matrix board in center field, where an American eagle named Challenger, USA's living symbol of freedom, will soar into the Yankee Stadium and land in front of the pitcher's mound. Challenger is a 13-year-old non-releasable eagle that can no longer survive in the wild and is cared for by the National Foundation to Protect America's Eagles. Now please direct your attention to the microphone behind home plate. Yankee Stadium veteran performer and fan favorite Robert Merrill will now sing "America the beautiful.
Join me. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Once more, everybody. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
There are many opening days, but there is nothing quite like the opening day at Yankee Stadium. First pitch coming up when we come back to New York.
ESPN2's Major League Baseball opening day is presented by Home Depot, where low prices are just the beginning. And in part by Pfizer, where life is our life's work.
Welcome back. Home Depot presenting opening day, and Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach, throws out the ceremonial first pitch, recovering from cancer and back on the bench with the New York Yankees. A great story personally and for the Yankee team. The Kansas City Royals lineup is one a lot of pitchers are not going to want to see, because, Joe, there is some thump in this lineup.
Well, especially in the middle of that lineup with Jermaine Dye and Sweeney and Randa. But the key is going to be at the top of the lineup. Fabulous and Beltran will have to have good years to offset the loss of Johnny Damon. And I think Beltran is the key, because 2 years ago he was the Rookie of the Year. He drove in 108 runs, and he's the type of a player that can really carry a ball club for stretches at a time.
Well, that lineup's going to be tested today, because a 5-time Cy Young Award winner, 38 years old, Roger Clemens, with that ERA last year, second best in the American League, the opening day starter for the Yankees.
Well, he's the same Roger Clemens that we've seen for the past 15 or 20 years. I mean, this guy is a power pitcher. He always comes at you with his hard stuff, good fastball and a splitter. He will throw the slider if he's having trouble with his splitter, but most of the time he uses the two pitches, fastball up and in, and he throws the splitter down most of the time.
When he is on, he is virtually unhittable.
And let's take a look at the defense for the Yankees behind him. A little change in two places here. At second base and left field, Knobloch, who had tried to play second base, is now the left fielder. And Alfonso Soriano will be the second baseman. And there's Knobloch. He's in left field. And Soriano is a guy that they say has a great glove. And he played shortstop most of his career, but he started playing second base last year in AAA, and so he's made the adjustment pretty well so far.
How does Soriano feel today, Joe? I mean, here's obviously a bright star of the future who suddenly is thrust into opening day at second base for the New York Yankees. I mean, his heart's got to be pounding.
Well, anytime you're a rookie playing in the major leagues, your first game is going to be pounding, and especially when you're playing for a world championship team and they're expecting you to just fit right in and help them win 4 in a row. So a lot of pressure on the young player, and I hope he gets off to a good start this year.
Opening day, Yankee Stadium, the second start on opening day for Roger Clemens here, the 11th opening day in his career. And the Rockets ready to go, and baseball has begun at Yankee Stadium. And how about that? A high strike called by Tim Welke, the home plate umpire.
And I think Roger Clemens is one of the pitchers that will be helped most. I think all pitchers will be helped, but some of their power pitchers will be helped the most.
Foul back. Carlos Fabulous, the second baseman for the Kansas City Royals, quickly down on the count, 0-2. This is one of the two guys at the top of the order Joe was talking about, who've got to get on base and be true table setters for the power that's left for the remainder of this lineup. And there is Beltran, one of the big question marks of Kansas City waiting on deck. 0-2 delivery by the Rocket. Just missed with that one, a slider outside. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Take a look at the umpiring crew for this opening day at Yankee Stadium with Tim Welke, the crew chief, behind the plate. The veteran Charlie Williams, Gary Cederstrom, and Mike Hudson make up this umpiring crew. 38-year-old Roger Clemens gets the chopper. Easy play. Martinez, 1 out.
Well, he threw it to the right spot. Last year, the bat came back to him and didn't know where to throw it, he said. So
You're not going to let that die.
Now,
are you?
I actually have to tell you, I sat with Roger at Michael Jordan's golf tournament this winter in Bahamas. We had a long conversation about that. And he has a lot different take on it. I was glad I had a chance to sit and talk to him because, you know, just a lot of build-up that week and the thing just kind of exploded. But he had he didn't have any ill will toward Mike Piazza at that particular moment, he said.
Well, I can assure you the Mets don't feel the same way.
And I can understand that. No, I can. And I mean, because I was more on the Mets side before I sit and talk to him.
Carlos Beltran pops that one up shallow center. Bernie Williams, and no catch by Soho. And a base hit. So Beltran is on. And let's check in with Brian Kenny. Brian?
Gary, going to start things off with the Braves and Reds. Very first batter for the Braves is Rafael Furcal, and he gets a good piece of this at New Look Synergy. Alex Ochoa going back, and a fine catch to open up the season. No score right now in that game, Gary.
And that's not a new ballpark in Cincinnati, Joe, where you played all those great years, but it sure looks like one with all the reconstruction they've had to do to make room for the new ballpark that's being built.
And I'm looking at that. I might have had another home run. I remember a ball I hit off the top of the wall of the stadium.
Yeah.
They have a very short porch there in right field now.
Here's Sweeney, and he fouls the first pitch back. Carlos Beltran on with a single at first base. We were talking before the game about this hitter. Mike Sweeney had an MVP year. His numbers were beyond phenomenal. And yet, if you ask most baseball fans, tell me about Mike Sweeney, probably most would not know very much about this Kansas City star.
And that's true. And remember, he was a catcher at one time, didn't work out. He moved into first base, and he all of a sudden just became a great hitter. I mean, 144 RBIs last year, 206 hits. So none of that was like a flash in the pan. He hit for a .333 average. So this guy is one of the big stars with the bat.
He had a huge year. Runner goes. Throwing his Jorge Posada on a stolen base. So Beltran gets the stolen base and gets in scoring position.
And that's one of the problems Roger Clemens will always have because of his style of pitching. He doesn't have a quick motion to the plate. Watch how slow his delivery is. He had a high leg kick. The extension of the arm behind him gives the base runner a lot of running room, and it's not even close at second base. But when Roger has a guy that he's afraid of stealing the base, he will try to quicken his delivery to the plate.
Now runner in scoring position. Here's exactly what Kansas City has talked about all spring, and they had a good spring, 16-11. Get a guy on for Tony Muser's club in front of the power. Sweeney, Dye, Randa, Quinn. That's how they're going to score. Now Muser's got the situation here in the first inning with Beltran on at second base and Sweeney at the plate. 27-year-old takes the fastball up high. Now they have changed the ruling on Beltran, and they've called it an error on Soho.
Well, that's because they want Roger Clemens to pitch a no-hitter on opening day.
I mean, there's
because
no
that's
way.
that's a joke is what it is.
There's no way that's an error, but that's what it is right now.
Well, I put it down as a base hit.
I did too.
And I'm going to leave mine.
That's right. I like it. And a walk. So Kansas City gets a couple of runners on after that first comebacker out against Roger Clemens, who walked 84 last year in 204 innings and had 188 strikeouts. Pretty good ratio, but he'll always be up there in Ks. And Joe Torre, what a ride it has been with the New York Yankees. 4 championships in 5 years. 4 world championships in 5 seasons. Season number 6 for Torre on the bench. 1 out, 2 on. Big cut at the heater by Jermaine Dye, batting cleanup.
Jermaine Dye came over from the Atlanta Braves in the trade that sent Michael Tucker over and Keith Lockhart to the Braves. The Braves needed some left-handed punch at that time, and they got it and helped them get to the World Series. But Jermaine Dye is proving to be a steal for the Kansas City Royals.
An everyday player who finally got a chance to show that's exactly what he could do. And Jermaine Dye, as a result, set career highs last year with a .321 average, 33 home runs, highs for him, and he had 118 RBIs, and he's got a chance right here to deliver with 1 down and 2 on. Yankees playing 2 in the infield, looking for 2. Dye takes that one inside, and a 2-ball 1-strike count.
Well, Roger often struggles in the first inning or so until he gets his emotions under control. He usually overthrows, so he usually tries. If he can get out of the first couple of innings, he's usually in pretty good shape.
Yankees relying on this staff, the starting staff, which Joe Torre certainly can look at with the addition of Mussina, Mike Mussina, and say it's one of the best in Major League Baseball. Mussina is certainly looking forward to it, because this could be one of his best years with a Yankee lineup. Andy Pettit, who's as good as they get, left side on that mound. And it's a very strong starting staff. 2-ball 1-strike count. And that one hit in the air to right field, not deep. Paul O'Neill. Beltran is tagging. O'Neill's got it. Beltran will go and will make it to third base. But Dye's retired on the fly ball out. And there are now 2 down with runners at the corners.
Well, I hope they don't give O'Neill an error for him advancing over to third base.
They got to change that ruling. I've got it written both ways in my book now.
Well, I'm not going to change mine.
You're a Hall of Famer. You can do those kind of things. I can't do that.
I mean, they give a guy an error on a play that's in shallow left center field. He doesn't touch the ball. He doesn't get close to it. And they're going to give him an error on a ball hit blooped over his head. Well, that's to keep the no-hitter intact.
I hear you. That'll bring up Joe Randa. Runners now at first and third, and they're looking for the big 2-out hit here in the first inning against Roger Clemens. Lead at first for Sweeney, who's not a base stealer. He's not going to be going anywhere over there. And the pitch is outside for a ball from the Rocket. Clemens has some outstanding numbers going against Kansas City. This is a team that he has faced a lot. 35th start of his career against the Kansas City Royals. He is 19-7 against Kansas City, including 1 win last year. Fouled off, and a 1-ball 1-strike count. You see those numbers include a 199 earned run average against the Kansas City Royals. That's not good news, obviously, for KC. Playing the Yankees is not good news for KC. They have never done well against the Yankees. They have the lowest win percentage against the Yankees of any team in the American League at .431. Miranda's going to have to wait as they get Sweeney back to the bag. Beltran's on at third base. Sweeney at first, a 1-ball 1-strike count. Miranda takes the outside corner, strike 1 and 2. Joe, that's been one of the questions in spring training I've heard most asked by pitchers. With the new strike zone, will the umpires call the low outside pitch? Because they're so concerned about the stuff up high.
Right. Well, one of the answers is yes, they'll call it, because they have been calling it in spring training.
Clemens got it there. Not that one, way outside, 2 and 2.
Well, according to what baseball officials said, they were supposed to zone in on the outside corner, which means bring it back in a little bit and then give the high strike. But I find that difficult for the umpires to do, because they didn't call the pitch out there a strike just because it was out there. They thought it was a strike, and it was going to be very difficult for them not to realize it's a strike anymore.
Just missed with that one. That split-fingered fork ball, of course, that Roger Clemens throws has become his great pitch, along with that fastball that's in the mid-90s now. Mike Scott, 1986, pitching with Houston in a Cy Young season for Clemens. The two of them met, talked about that split-fingered pitch, and that's how he learned it. And it has become a great pitch. 3-2, 2 down. Runner at first goes, and he got him. No runs, no hits. We put a question mark there. 1 error, question mark there. 2 left on. Opening day at Yankee Stadium. The Royals retired with 2 left on. Now the New York Yankees coming up. Yes, these are the good old days. In New York, that means you just raise another banner. Can this lineup do it again for the 4th consecutive year? That's the question. Obviously, with Jeter out, some changes in it, Joe.
Well, I think the big change and the big problem for the Yankees is Derek Jeter being out, because he's the leader of this ball club. Alfonso Soriano, the second baseman, has a double problem here. First, he's replacing Knobloch at second base, so they're looking for him to do something defensively. And now they've put him in the number 2 slot, which is usually occupied by one of the best players in the league. So putting a little pressure on the young fellow.
Jeff Supan is going to make the start, a 26-year-old right-hander for the Royals.
And he pitched really well down the stretch last year. He was 8-3 after the All-Star break, Gary, and I think that's the Supan that they're hoping that they get for the remainder of this season.
He's the only starter that had double digits in wins with 10. That was the crux of the Kansas City problems last year. They scored runs, but they could not pitch, and they were at the bottom of the pile in that department. Here is Chuck Knobloch leading it off, the second baseman who's moved to left. The Yankee fans are certainly behind Knobloch. When he went out for the pregame warm-ups, the fans who were out there around left field gave him a standing ovation. When he went out to start the ball game in left field, those fans stood and gave him another standing ovation. Knobloch's bat is important in the lineup. He gets on base.
But we also know how the Yankee fans are. Don't make a mistake out there, Chuck.
I can't believe you'd say that.
If he makes a mistake, I think they will let him know about it. Back to Supan. He has a great curveball. He doesn't have an overpowering fastball, but he has a good curveball. And he's thrown Knobloch 2 good fastballs. You may see a curveball.
Where he goes with it. Backed him off way inside, and a 1-ball 2-strike count. Great to have you with us. There's nothing quite like opening day in baseball, and there's nothing quite like the opening day at Yankee Stadium. It's special,
and it's
no matter who you cheer for.
No, exactly. It doesn't matter whether you're a Yankee fan or not. There's the curveball.
Good pitch. Got the outside corner call, and Supan, who struck out 128 in 217 innings last year, gets one here, and there's the look.
Great pitching here, because he got 0-2. He moved him off the plate. Now he goes back to the outside corner, right over the outside edge. Good pitch there by Supan. And you can see the rotation there. Not quite an overhand curveball, more of that slurve they call it, a little more slider action than an actual curveball.
Chuck Knobloch sits down. Strikeout victim, one away for the Yankees. Soriano gets a nice hand. Starting at second base for the youngster, who's looking to make his mark early. While Derek Jeter is out of there, Jeter is eligible and probably will be back on Saturday in the starting lineup. Chopper towards short. Ray Sanchez. Over to Sweeney, and there are 2 down.
Let's take a look at the Royals defensively. Jermaine Dye in right field won their first Gold Glove since Bob Boone won one for the Royals about 12 years ago. So he's an excellent player, not just a good hitter, not just a good RBI man, but also a Gold Glove winner in right field. There's Jermaine.
44 degrees, if you wonder why he's blowing on his hands there. Overcast day, 44. Could have been a lot worse. Rain was in the forecast.
I was expecting a lot worse.
It was ugly last night and yesterday. Rainy, cold, drizzly. They played to pull in the infield, especially down at first. Sweeney just jumped 4 steps over to the bag on Paul O'Neill. This may be Paul O'Neill's last season. Last year, slow start. Toughened up as it went along and had a great series. Sweeney thinks he's going to go right down the line on him. Instead, he goes to short. Sanchez up with it. Sweeney at first in a very fine inning. Jeff Supan comes on, and in just 8 pitches sets the world champion Yankees down after 1 at Yankee Stadium, no score. Gary Thorne, Joe Morgan, and our crew, welcome back. Great to have you with us here on opening day. Roger Clemens goes to work here against Quinn, Brown, and Ortiz. Strikeout and a walk in the first inning. Left a couple on. Quinn takes that pitch on the outside corner. 2 for 5 lifetime is Mark Quinn against Roger Clemens. Led all rookies in the average home run department last year. Another player who did not get a lot of attention despite having a very fine rookie season. Heater inside to him, 1-1.
And you can see how Roger Clemens pitches, especially the right-handed hitters. He will keep you from leaning out over the plate. Fastball off the plate in there. We saw it early in the first inning as well. That's one of the things that makes him a good pitcher.
Inside corner strike. And now a 1-ball 2-strike count on Quinn, who's got to get defensive about this whole thing.
And that's where the new strike zone comes in. You, as a hitter with 2 strikes or when you're down in the count, you have more area to protect.
Got that one. O'Neill backing up in right field. Wind blowing out to right at the moment, but not very hard. Quinn is retired. One away. The setting, you cannot mistake it. If you see that picture and you are a baseball fan, you know what you're looking at. It's Yankee Stadium. They've raised the banner. Doc Gooden, Yogi Berra, Dave Winfield, and all were out there to help put that banner up prior to the game. They're running out of room to put banners up. Swung on and missed by D. Brown, who's the designated hitter in this game for KC. 33rd season for the Kansas City Royals. They've won 11 and lost 21 in their home openers. Now we have the strength of Joe Morgan exhibited here at Yankee Stadium. I've always said, my partner, there is no one in baseball who has more power, authority, along with dignity and grace.
Oh, I like the last.
I appreciate that. It is now a hit for Beltran. The era has disappeared.
Well, good. That era should have disappeared. Red Foley is really a pretty good scorekeeper, and I was shocked to find out that Red Foley was the guy that gave Luis Sojo an error on a ball he couldn't get to.
As soon as he heard what you were saying, gone. Morgan says hit. It's a hit. Popped up left side, third base. Brocious. 2 down. D. Brown retired.
Well, I didn't have to change my scorebook, see. I just left it.
That's why I said you're a Hall of Famer. You can do those things. I have to white this thing out now. Clemens with 2 down and nobody on.
And you actually see a different Roger Clemens this second inning, Gary, simply because he's throwing strikes, getting ahead of the hitter. But that's the way he is. He usually struggles a little bit in the first inning, but once he settles down, I mean, he usually takes command.
When he takes command, look out. Strike on the outside corner. Ortiz doing the catching for the Kansas City Royals. Only 103 days of major league service in his career, and he's 31 years old. Greg Zahn injured on the DL. He's their primary catcher. Ortiz is retired. 1-2-3 inning for Roger Clemens as these 2 pitches start out hot. Took only 10 to get the Royals out for Clemens in that inning.
Catfish. What a great arm. Who is that kid anyway?
Of course he's got a great arm, Buttermaker. He's the best athlete in the area. But you don't understand. That's Kelly Leak.
You guys talking about Kelly Leak?
Yeah.
That dude is a bad mother. Talking about a loan shark. I borrowed a nickel from him last week. He said if I can give him a dime by Friday, he'd break my arm.
That's su bandido.
Baseball Tonight, every night at 10 and midnight on ESPN.
This is Carl Ravitch in our baseball studios. Braves, Reds, Alex Ochoa. You've seen one great catch here off B.J. Suroff. He makes another, and he has since made a third. Braves threatening, men on first and third, 1 down. Back to you, Gary.
Carl, thanks very much. Royals and Yankees, no score. Yankees took the season series last year, 8-2 against Kansas City. Guess where I am, man? 44 degrees, as we said.
Actually,
Joe,
it doesn't seem like it's that cold when I walked on the field. I thought it was going to be much colder.
Yeah, it's not bad. Well, the breeze is really light, so you don't have any cutting wind. Bernie Williams, switch hitter, leading it off against Jeff Supan. 307 last year with the 30 homers and 121 RBIs, career highs in the home run and RBI department for him. Takes that one down low and a 2-0 count. Will he win an MVP before his Yankee days are done?
That's an interesting question, because I thought 2 years ago he had the inside track, and maybe even last year, but
he's always right there.
Right. Just
ball 3 up high.
A little bit from getting over the hump. And he and Derek Jeter, you would think that the Yankees have won 3 in a row, 4 out of 5, and yet they have not had a most valuable player in that stretch.
They spread it out, don't they?
Very unusual.
It is a team effort. Williams 3-0. Jeff Supan just lays that one in there. Bernie at 310 here at the stadium last year and 305 on the road. Very consistent. 289 off left-handers, 315 off right-handers. I mean, overall, you just get that kind of season out of Bernie Williams consistently. 3-1 delivery, fisted that one, left center field. Quinn, a little worried about Beltran moving in, but he got it. We're going to check in with Carl Ravitch. Carl.
Hi, Gary. The Indians failed in their bottom half of the first to score. Gonzalez strikes out with Lofton on third. Now with the man on second, Carlos Lee down the line in right. Can't get there. Lee would advance to second, be thrown out, but Canerco touches home. Chicago's on top by a score of 1-0, and they're batting the Indians in the second.
Two of the teams who are highly rated this year, Cleveland and the White Sox, with possible chance of postseason play. Here's David Justice, designated hitter for the Yankees. Justice has homered off Supan, 4 for 11, one of those 4 hits a homer. And he had 41 of those dingers last year for a career high for him.
David Justice is the reason the Yankees won their 3rd consecutive World Championship. They made the move at the right time. They were looking for another bat. They looked at Sammy Sosa. They looked at a lot of different players. And they decided at the last moment that they were going to take Justice, and he rewarded them by coming over and just carrying this ball club the second half. He was the most valuable player on this team in the second half of the season.
Boy, he had a great run. Absolutely right. 1 ball, 1 strike count on Justice. They've always said of Yankee Stadium, the house that Ruth built, it was built for Ruth, for the left-handers to power the ball out. That 314 short porch, 385 in the power alley in right field. Made for left-handed hitters. There it is down that line. If you can yank one there, fly ball can just end up in the seats 3 or 4 rows back. Then it ends up that 385 in the power alley. Not real deep, but fair. Left-handers like it here. Foul back.
You know what's interesting is the guys that have had the most success lately, meaning the Bernie Williams, the Justice, they actually hit the ball all over. They're not dead pull hitters. Remember when Yankee Stadium first built, the Roger Marises, and they were dead pull hitters. They tried to pull everything, and they took advantage of that short porch in right field. I think now most of your left-handed hitters really use the entire field.
2 ball, 2 strike count. And that's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
David Justice goes the other way. Quinn up with it, and there's the first Yankee hit in the 2001 season. And David Justice on with a single.
That's one of the reasons I believe that I've said before, the thing that amazes me the most about the players today is that not only can they hit 40 or 41 home runs, but they can hit for a higher average. And this is why. Normally a power hitter with 2 strikes, he doesn't ease up, but look at David Justice. He just kind of slaps it the other way. In the past, power hitters were really kind of all or nothing. They were going for it, and they'd strike out a lot. Now the power hitters are able to hit the ball the other way and hit for a high average.
Joe, that was a great pitch by Supan.
Great pitch.
I mean, that was right where he wanted it. Justice just leaned out and got it. Here's Tino Martinez. This is where the Yankees hope to get some help. Their production at first and third with Martinez and Brocious last year. 241, the lowest average for first and third baseman for any team in the majors. So the corners are where they hope to get a little more offense this year. To short, that's 1, and that's all they'll be. Martinez retired, handled by Sanchez. 2 down. Jorge Posada coming up. Joe, those are the numbers from the corners when you look at the major league average compared to what the Yankees did.
And actually, people should realize that your offense is supposed to come from the corners. Your first baseman, your third baseman, your left fielder, and your right fielder. That's where your run production is supposed to come from. They're the ones that hit the home runs, driving the runs for you. And your middle of your lineman is for your defense, your shortstop, second baseman, your center fielder, and catcher. So,
except when you play.
Yeah, but I mean, that's technically the way it goes. And guys were telling me the other days, guys like me and Ryan Sandberg, those guys, that spoiled it.
That's right.
Because, I really believe that we do sometimes overlook the fact that the middle of the diamond is supposed to be for defense. Yep. We expect a little too much from some of our middle infielders as far as offense is concerned.
Jorge Posada. Well, that's where that term in baseball, we talk about strength up the middle. We're not talking about offense.
Exactly.
We're talking about defense.
Right, and that's why your corners are the ones that provide it. And that's why it's surprising that the Yankees could get away with guys under the league average at those 2 power positions and still win a world championship.
Second base. That one bounces off Fabulous. Stopping at second base is Justice. I'm not going to call that a base hit until I see it.
Well, I think they're going to give him a base hit, but you know what? I'm going to say that that's a time where I thought he should have been able to get over in front of it and block it.
Fabulous kind of sidearm that one and didn't get it.
Now watch this ball. He has time to move over and take a step and try to get his body in front of it, but he tried to catch it. Now watch this. If he should move his body over in front of the ball, he didn't do that. He just kind of stuck his arm out over there.
Tried to ride that baby side saddle and fell off.
Yeah.
So it is a base hit, Jorge Posada. So runners at first and second for the Yankees now. And Luis Sojo will stand in. We are scoreless. Jeff Supan trying to work around this one. And Sojo takes the pitch down low for a ball. Sojo at short until Derek Jeter gets back into the Yankee lineup. Valuable part of this team. You see some very solid numbers coming off the bench, playing anywhere in the infield. He can even go into the outfield once in a while if you need him to do that. Very versatile player. And the pitch is down low to him. 2 balls and no strikes.
I think Sojo's the kind of guy, no matter how many hits he gets, Gary, you never think of him as a threat, but he continues to do it. He seems to be able to come up with the big hits all the time. We've seen him do it over and over in the postseason, yet no one thinks of him as the great clutch hitter. He just gets the job done.
He was the one who had a clutch hit that allowed the Yankees to win the final game of the World Series last year against the Mets. Sojo, the dribbler, fouled off. Remember that ball? Hit up the middle, rabbit hop 18 times. It hit the ground. No one could get it. Went to center field, and the Yankees went on to win it on that base hit.
Well, he's had a lot of key hits, and that's why the Yankees brought him back last year. Remember, they had traded him away, and you know, he had helped them win some championships before, and they remembered that, and they brought him back at the right time last year.
.299 hitter with runners in scoring position last year for Sojo. Got 2 on here. Supan gets a chopper in front of the plate. Ortiz, plenty of time. Ooh, almost threw it away. Nice play by Sweeney. He snow coned that one. No runs, couple of hits. 2 are left on base. We've completed 2 at Yankee Stadium. See some power coming up when we come
back. Sorry, Nippy. You'll give in before I do.
Have a bud for my friend?
Yeah, sure.
ESPN2's Major League Baseball Opening Day, presented by Home Depot, is brought to you by Budweiser. With a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you.
Delight to have you with us. Yankee Stadium. Roger Clemens back to work here as the shortstop batting ninth. Ray Sanchez will lead it off. Then Fabulous and Beltran will be up against Clemens. There's Sanchez. Strong numbers last year. Middle of that infield. Got some speed. Striking the inside corner. You may see a little baseball history made today for this man. He already has 1 strikeout. He now needs only 3 to tie Walter Johnson for the all-time American League strikeout record, and to move him in the 7th place all-time in baseball. Sanchez goes to right field. Paul O'Neill moves over and gets it. We'll check in with Carl Ravitch again. Carl.
Hi, Gary. Rogers worked himself out of a few jams in his career. So is this guy. David Wells was in 1 in the 1st. He struck out Gonzalez with Lofton on 3rd. Here in the 2nd, he gets Einar Diaz with men on 1st and 2nd, protecting a 1-0 lead.
That's a call Wells will take, Joe.
Yeah, we saw that high strike zone there on that curveball from David Wells. I like it.
Well, all the players say if the umpires call it, as they've been instructed to do, which is by the book, really, that these games, the time of games, will be affected. But as soon as hitters realize the strike zone is going to be called, hitters are going to have to come in there thinking about swinging and not watching.
Be more aggressive. I think the hitters will be more aggressive.
Fabulous grounded out his first time up and pops this one up. Shallow right. Paul O'Neill, busy man. That's the 4th putout Paul O'Neill has had, and there are 2 down here in the 3rd inning.
And that kind of tells you why the high fastball is effective for Clemens, because right-handed hitters will be late on it, and that's what we're seeing, that good high fastball, and they're hitting a lot of fly balls to right field.
Talk about some names. The all-time strikeout leaders, there they are. He is right now 8th. Walter Johnson is 7th and is the all-time American League leader. And Clemens is now within 3 of tying the big train.
You know what I laugh about there, Gary, is that he would be 7th and he'd be the greatest in the American League history. That means that more guys struck out in the National League, right?
Yeah, that's right. A lot more.
A lot more people struck out in the National League.
Nolan had something to do with that.
Yeah.
Here's Knobloch, first chance in left. Fans are ready.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed.
Before you can inspire,
We hold these truths to be self-evident
before you can touch,
that all men are created equal.
you must first connect. And the company that connects more of the world is Alcatel, a leader in communication networks.
As the Final Four winds down, turn to ESPN to keep up. Inside analysis from Chris, Digger, and Dickie V.
The best sporting event of them all.
With round-the-clock coverage and live sports centers from Minneapolis, ESPN's got the Final Four covered.
We are scoreless, bottom half of the 3rd inning, and Scott Brocious leads it off against 26-year-old Jeff Supan, who has not had a walk or a strikeout. A couple of hits off him in the last inning, and Brocious batting 9th will be followed by Knobloch and Soriano for the Yankees. The other part of that corner combination we were talking about for the Yankees, hoping to pick it up offensively.
Well, it's interesting. The Yankees just signed Drew Henson, gave him a big contract. He's at AAA, and a lot of people think that he may be the Yankee third baseman next year. Of course, it depends on how well he does at AAA.
That's right. Lee Mazzilli, first base coach, avoiding that one on the foul ball the other way, and a 1-2 count. They certainly believe that, Joe. The Yankees think he's going to be ready to go.
Well, if you give a guy $17 million, I would assume
be ready.
he's going to be ready pretty quick.
I must say, opening day is nothing like having that hot dog sausage, and you were the purchaser today of the first sausage of this baseball season. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
That's very nice of you. Scott Brocious, and that one towards the gap, right center field, is going to fall in for a base hit. Beltran up with it, and Brocious is on with the 3rd Yankee hit. Chuck Knobloch, left field. Never played there. Spring training, they made the move because he couldn't throw from second. Here's the fly ball to him. He can't help but smile.
But I think the smartest thing he did that, Gary, is he ran it back in. He didn't throw it back in.
Not fair.
One thing at a time.
One thing at a time. That's that mental problem we've seen in baseball repeated over the ages of something happens and a player can't do a simple thing like throw a ball from second base to first base or back to the pitcher from behind the plate
or from the pitching mound to the plate.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a conversation I had today with Peter Pasquarelli about, has there ever been a guy who had a problem on the mound, you know, like Steve Blass, Mark Wohlers, who've ever been able to come back? You know, when you've had that problem, have they actually ever been able to overcome that problem? I know Steve Sachs overcame his problem at second base to go back and play. and that's what the Yankees are hoping for Knobloch, that he'll be able to eventually go back and play second base.
I mean, Dale Murphy had that problem as a catcher, Joe, and never could recover from it, and ended up being a very fine outfielder. Had to go out and play center field for the Atlanta Braves.
So I guess the question is, has anyone actually ever overcome that problem? That's the question.
Strike on the outside corner. Supan delivering a slider right there. 1-2.
Well, of course, Mark Wohlers was with the Reds, but I guess the question is he going to ever get back to the Mark Wohlers who was the dominant closer for the Braves, you know, before he had this problem? But I think in his case, it may be a little different because they found that there was an injury that may have caused him to have, you know, the problem.
And this one for Knobloch is mental. He admits it. Interesting stories coming out in ESPN the magazine on Chuck Knobloch. I have not seen the article, but I heard the author talking about it. Chuck Knobloch's dad was always his #1 coach. His dad is in the late stages of Alzheimer's. Chuck has also gone through a difficult divorce. Both of those things happening at the same time. Chuck would not say directly that he felt that had some impact, but it seems as though those things in his personal life impacted on that problem he's got. There's one, and there's two. So Knobloch gets into the double play.
It would be very difficult to put those things in the back of your mind and not let them ever affect you.
And he doesn't have his dad to go to anymore, and he talked about that apparently in the article, that whenever things went wrong in his baseball career, he would always call his father.
Right.
And he had that confidence in his dad to be able to fix things, and his dad always fixed it, which is a mental thing in large part.
Well, it is.
And now he doesn't have that person to go to.
Yeah, but we'd always like to have our parents, you know, our dad to be able to go to, especially baseball players, you know, kids who help their parents help them to become players in most cases anyway. So that is a difficult, you know, process, and that's another thing to look at. And obviously it's just another thing he had to handle. Or he had to deal with.
And still does. Chuck Knobloch. 1-0 count, 2 down. Alfonso Soriano grounded out his first time up. Supan gets it in, broke the bat, and that's going to be a base hit.
You better wait.
Nope, that's a base hit. Alfonso Soriano.
Well, he's a Yankee. You're right. He gets it.
That's right. No, that's not fair. Because Red's a very dedicated official scorer.
Yeah, they posted it.
It's up there.
All right.
Fourth single. And Alfonso Soriano's on the board. And that's 2001 year.
And that helps him. I mean, you're happy just to get that first one. Because in most cases, when the season starts, the first one is always the most difficult for a lot of people. You see a lot of players getting off to a 0 for 15 start or whatever. So you want to get that first one out of the way.
Get that thing out of the way, and he did.
Yeah.
So the Yankees have 4 hits, 0-0. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. 2 down and Paul O'Neill, who grounded out his first time up. Other way left field. Quinn, Miranda, and no play in the seats. The problem last year for Jeff Supan, the starter today for Kansas City, was home runs. He gave up league leading 36 of them, and 15 of those were to left-handers, 21 to right-handers. So he's got to keep the ball down. If his fastball gets up or the curveball isn't breaking, he can get hit hard for the long ball. And against this Yankee team, you don't want to make those mistakes. Missed inside with that 1-1.
That's again, Gary, why I think the new strike zone will help all of the pitchers, because it just gives them a little more area to pitch to, and again it gives the hitters more area that they have to protect if they fall behind in the count.
Ortiz getting the signs from the dugout on the pitch calls. That one's down low. A 2-ball 1-strike count on Paul O'Neill.
And I said that to say that I think a lot of the pitchers who gave up a lot of home runs last year will give up fewer home runs this year than they did in the past, because a lot of times they might throw a pitch that was a strike and it wasn't called a strike, the high strike, or it's foul back, and they had to throw one more pitch.
Yep.
Now they'll be able to finish some hitters off quicker, I believe.
Sweeney slapping the tag on Soriano at first base, but not in time. Supan 2 down on a 2-1 count.
The more pitches that a hitter gets to look at in any at bat makes him that much better hitter, because he gets a chance to time it.
Right, Joe, and the Yankees over these World Championship years have done it better than any team.
Exactly. They're professional hitters.
He was going. Charlie Williams with a call there, safe. He was leaning towards second base.
And that's another dimension that I know that Joe Torre wants to exploit, because, you know, I don't think the Yankees are really a big stolen base threat team. They hit and run a lot. But I think one of the things that made Joe Torre successful when he came to the Yankees was he brought a National League style of play to the American League, and they were not used to it. He hit and ran, he would steal a few bases, and he had his guys take close pitches. So I think that that's what Joe Torre likes to do most, and he likes to have guys that can put some pressure on the defense.
Soriano not going here. Broken bat by O'Neill. The barrel ends up in the camera well. The ball ends up in the center fielder Beltran's glove. O'Neill is retired. No runs, couple of hits. Base runner left on after 3, no score.
The essence of communicating is not saying a single word. If one can tame the tongue and still express his true desire, eternal bonding is achieved. Only at Foot Locker.
Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees go to the 4th inning. No score. Supan and Clemens locked up in a good one. The heart of the KC order. And the pitch taken by Sweeney, who drew a walk his first time up for strike 1.
Roger has thrown the ball exceptionally well, I think, today for opening day, because, I mean, he's able to hit his spots. Everything so far has been away to right-handers until he wants to come off the plate inside. He's staying right out there.
Joe, I saw a number that just struck me about Roger Clemens, that he has not issued an intentional walk.
1997. I saw the same note.
And I looked at that and I said, you know,
me.
that tells you something,
It
right?
really does.
About what you're up against.
Yeah. I saw that note and it stuck in my mind too. 1997.
I mean, you'd think just once in a while, a guy on second want a double play, you would have intentionally walked somebody.
Well, you would think you would have walked Ken Griffey Jr. someplace in there intentionally.
Yeah. Ain't no give there.
No.
1-2 delivery. Sweeney towards third. Brocious. Tino Martinez. Sweeney's retired. 1 away. Kyle Ravitch.
Hi, Gary, searching for offense in the Bronx. Braves only are up 1-0 thanks to a sac fly. Pretty good pitch by John Burkett. Look at Dimitri Young. Hack it. It rises. This is Joe Morgan. That looked like a good 3-iron. It's 1-1 on Young's first.
Your 3-iron, Carl.
That's
Mine
right.
doesn't go that far.
Joe's would have been rolling. It might have gone that far. 1 down. Jermaine Dye fly it out. Right field. First time up. Clemens gets the ground ball towards the hole and a base hit out of the reach of Soho. Knobloch up with it. And a runner on at first base, Jermaine Dye. That's just the second hit off Clemens. This one with 1 down here in the 4th inning.
Let's take a look at this pitch. This is when you have a better chance of hitting Roger Clemens. The ball is down. That was a splitter, not a fastball. And I still believe that all hitters now are better low ball hitters than they were before. And the fact that it used to be right-handed hitters were high ball hitters, left-handed hitters were low ball hitters. But I think because the way the strike zone has been called for the last 15 years, everyone has developed a low ball stroke.
Randa, first ball hitting, second base. Soriano. They are all going after the first pitch of Roger Clemens here, the second time around the order.
And the reason for that, Gary, is they do not want to fall behind in the count and have to chase that splitter or the high fastball. So they're trying to pick out the first fastball that they see or a pitch that they can handle and hit it right away, which makes a lot of sense. You do not want to hit from behind against a power pitcher.
And Clemens is throwing strikes on the first pitch. 2 down. Runner on at first is Dye. Here's Mark Quinn flying out to right his first time up. And a close play at first base. Clemens has got a good move.
Well, I think they're going to try to steal a base or two, but it just appeared there that Jermaine Dye lost his concentration because he wasn't moving really either way, and he almost got caught. See, he was paying a little more attention that time.
He'll be watching now.
Yeah.
Jermaine Dye did not have a stolen base last year.
The whole season?
That's what it says. Mark Quinn, 2 down. And that one is taken inside. 1-0 count with 2 away and the runner at first base.
When you look at this lineup, this Kansas City lineup, it's an interesting lineup because I can see where it would give a lot of pitchers problems if you can't overpower them or do not have a dominant pitch, because most of these guys seem like they try to put the ball in play. And when you put the ball in play, you're going to put pressure on the pitcher.
They come up swinging in the middle of this order. Outside corner strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tony Muser had a picture taken of he and his starting lineup in the dugout in Kansas City in World War II Army fatigues. And it was for real. That is their slogan this year. Us against them. Bunker mentality. And he had it on the lineup card today. He said, "We are on a mission. Take no prisoners." That's what he wrote on the lineup card that he posted on the door inside the Kansas City locker room. And that is Tony Muser. That's the way he played, and that's the way he manages.
Well, I can understand his point there, because as you mentioned about Mike Sweeney, Jermaine Dye, a lot of people know Jermaine Dye, but all these other players have had pretty good years and no one knows who they are. So he's saying, hey, they're not going to give you any credit. We will demand that we get the credit that we deserve. We'll take it.
So that's the mentality he's trying to instill into this club. Fans applauding for the strikeout. Clemens has 1 so far. Mark Quinn with a 1 ball, 2 strike delivery. He got another one. He is only 2 shy of the big train in strikeout history. Still no score at the stadium.
Every Monday, it's Monday Night Baseball from 9 to 11 on ESPN Classic.
More opening day activity on ESPN2 later on. National League MVP Jeff Kent, then Barry Bonds and the Giants and the San Diego Padres and Tony Gwynn at 4 o'clock Eastern. At 10, Jason Giambi, the Oakland A's, set out to defend their division title against the Mariners. ESPN2, full evening of baseball coming up. Gary Thorne, Joe Morgan with you. Yankee Stadium, Jeff Supan, his 2nd consecutive opening day start for the Kansas City Royals. He's pitched well. Yankees have pitched up 4 singles off him. And he goes back to work here against Bernie Williams. Bernie flied out to left his first time up. Justice and Martinez in the middle of the order for New York. Fastball missed inside. Over 300 batting average for the last 6 years for Bernie Williams.
Pretty consistent.
Switch hitter right in the middle of the order. And in all likelihood, he will be one of those players, unusual in this day and age, to play here and nowhere else from now to the end of his career. 1-1 down to first. Sweeney makes the flip. Supan got there. Williams retired. 1 away. Kyle Ravitch.
Hi, Gary. Thank you. At Yankee Stadium, they have the black seats. At Synergy Field, they have the black wall. Javi Lopez pays it a visit. You got to go over it to be a home run. Obviously, he didn't do that. Rang hard off of it. Umpires, a little confused about the rules, said home run. In fact, only a double. He goes back to second.
And a reminder, log on. The opening day contest has got some winners who are going to be going to the All-Star game. Check and see what some of the guesses were for first hit, out, strikeout, etc. Accumulated points will decide the winner. ESPN.com will be announced tonight. The winner. And they'll go to Seattle. That one off the fist. Foul back. No play on it. 2-strike count on Justice. Despite winning the World Series last year, this Yankee team ended up in the regular season losing their last 7 and 15 out of their last 18. You never would have known that for the way they played in the postseason, but it was a bit of a struggle at times for the Yankees during the regular season last year.
Well, what that tells you, Gary, is don't let them get to the playoffs.
Yeah, right.
You know, but you're right. And I remember doing a game here early in the season last year, and I looked at that bench, and I said, this team is not going to be able to perform well with this group. But before the season was over, they had added Glenn Allen Hill, they added Justice, they had made some changes. And I would say that that's probably what they're going to end up doing this year. If you look at their bench, it's still pretty weak. You got some guys there are taking place, of course, of some injured players. But this is not a team that you're going to see in September. The Yankees will add some other players along the way that will make them a better team.
Batted Mike Mussina making his start this week with the Yankees. And I agree with you, Joe. They'll make some more. That one grounded foul, reaching to protect, and a 2-ball, 2-strike count on Justice, the designated hitter.
Well, that's the luxury of having, you know, the money to go out and get players, but you still have to make the proper acquisitions. And it's not just the money that has made the Yankees the world champions. It's their personnel decisions. You know, because a lot of teams have spent more money. In fact, they do not have the highest payroll even this year.
And you have to give a lot of credit to Gene Michael and Brian Cashman, huh?
Exactly. I think you have to, because, you know, they didn't just go out and spend money. They brought in players with the money that could help them. You know, I mean, I know a lot of teams would say, yeah, we could have brought David Justice in too if we could have afforded it. Well, but other teams have made mistakes or, you know, brought in players that didn't help them.
3-2 delivery, and Justice back to the mound. Jeff Suppan knocks that one down and makes the play. And there are 2 down here in the 4th inning. Not unusual to have opening games where you see great pitching, because, Joe, in opening games you're getting the aces of the 2 staffs. That's what's going on here.
And a lot of times you're in weather like this. It's cold weather here, and that does favor the pitchers. I think the fact that it is opening day, it gets your adrenaline flowing, but it still is this weather's not conducive to hitting, especially since you've come from Florida, where it was really warm most of the spring, and now you come here to a cold area. It's going to take you a few days to adjust.
How about when you just come from Puerto Rico?
Yeah, that brings the point. I got to tell you my favorite opening day story. I got traded to the Reds my first year there, so I'm there for the opening day, because they always opened in Cincinnati then. And I woke up and it's snowing, so I get back in the bed, right?
Okay.
And about 12 o'clock, Pete Rose calls me. He says, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm home. What do you think?" I said, "I looked out the window, it's still snowing." He said, "Get to the park. We're going to play." I said, "Pete, it's snowing." He said, "Get to the park." So I go to the ballpark. They take the Zamboni machine, move the snow. Guess what? We played. So that's my opening day story. I mean, I couldn't believe. I said, we'd always played in the Astrodome, and it was always perfect weather. Now, here I am playing in the snow on opening day. I said, maybe I've gone to the wrong place.
What'd you do, 4 for 4?
No, it worked out okay, though.
Okay, foul off, 2-ball, 2-strike count. And you were probably dressed like that when you went to the ballpark.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was actually, it wasn't like snowflakes. It was snowing, you know.
Was there a manager thrown out in that game by the name of McNamara?
No. Sparky was the manager.
Sparky was the manager.
Yeah, Sparky was the manager that year. McNamara was there later.
Here's the 2-2 delivery. And that one's going to miss outside. 3-ball, 2-strike count.
Well,
not sure they're watching the game.
They probably have eye holes in there someplace, I hope. Or maybe he forced them to come to the game with him.
I didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
It's deep by Martinez, way back. Goodbye, home run, Tino Martinez.
Talking about the corners not producing much power last year, and Tino Martinez, we know he's capable, so maybe he will have a good year.
And we were talking about Jeff Suppan giving up homers, Joe.
Yeah,
that's what he struggled with last year, and he starts out this year giving up the first one here at Yankee Stadium, a 1-0 lead. Swung on with a big cut by Jorge Posada.
I think this will support my theory that most guys are still low ball hitters. That was not a bad pitch. You know, the pitch was down a little bit, but Tino just rips it in the gap in right center for a home run.
12 of his 16 home runs were hit at Yankee Stadium last year by Tino Martinez. Talking about left-handers liking this yard, he put that one right out into that alley, 385. He had a better average on the road, but he had much better home run production here at Yankee Stadium. 0-2 delivery, a speed pitch. Taken for a ball, 1-2. It came with 2 down here in the 4th inning. Martinez for the Yankees off Suppan, and a 1-0 Yankee lead on their 5th hit.
You're going to give up some home runs during the year, so you may well accept that. The key is to make sure that they're solo home runs, because every pitcher is going to give up some home runs. So if you're Jeff Suppan and you look up and you say you're in the 4th inning, you gave up a solo homer, I have to remove that from my mind and just go ahead and pitch. Just keep the bases empty, and if they hit some solo homers, there's nothing I can do about it.
Well, the 4 hits off him, all singles here today. Down to first, fair ball. Sweeney there makes the flip. Suppan covering, and they get the out. But The dinger's on the board. The Yankees with a run and a hit and nobody left on here in the 4th inning. The bat of Tino Martinez, bringing the Yankee fans to their feet.
Only ESPN Classic brings you Sports Century, the top 50 and beyond. Profiling sports' greatest legends. You know what made them heroes. We show you what made them human.
He drank. He chased girls. This guy's a chameleon. This guy's an Uncle Tom.
The lines you don't know.
He was a terribly, terribly insecure human being.
The secrets you never heard.
Many of his teammates hated his guts.
Stories you only hear on Sports Century. Every weeknight at 8 Eastern. But to get it, you've got to call 1-800-CLASSIC today.
Show it to me. Welcome back, everybody. A few playing hooky today. Probably not only from school, but work.
When you're, one thing about the Reds, when they open the season before everyone else, if you had a ticket, you got excused from school.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
There's the Rockets' numbers through 4. A couple of hits off him, a walk and 2 strikeouts. That one to center field. Bernie Williams, an atom ball. D. Brown is retired as KC continues to go after that first fastball Joe was talking about, and Clemens continues to get the outs. Clemens is having it fairly easy right now with a limited number of pitches being thrown. Best chance to score for KC came in the 1st inning when they got runners at 1st and 2nd with 1 away, but Clemens took care of Dye and Joe Randa, and that was that. Hector Ortiz hitting 8th in the order. The catcher grounded out his first time up. We said Greg Zahn is on the DL, expected to be their starting catcher. So Ortiz getting the chance. Rosado would have been their starting pitcher today, but he is also on the DL. Hope to get him back. They need him on that staff, and a strike taken, 1-1. So Jeff Supan, the man, got the start.
Gary, there are a lot of different approaches by managers on opening day, when you approach an ace of another staff.
Hit hard to center. Williams won't get that one. A base hit, and Hector Ortiz is on with a 1-out single in the 5th inning.
I remember last year I was doing the opening game, Seattle versus the Boston Red Sox, and Pedro Martinez was pitching. And Lou Piniella wanted his hitters to take pitches and work, Pedro, because they felt like he wasn't ready to go 9 innings, coming right out of spring training. And I guess it worked and it didn't work. They got Pedro out, but when he went out, they didn't have any runs. And they were able to shut them down the last 2 innings. But sometimes that's a good theory. It works when you force the ace to throw a lot of pitches.
Sanchez will take the fastball inside. Sanchez flied up 2 for 8 lifetime off Roger Clemens for the shortstop. Looking down to third base, Rich Dower, third base coach, relaying the signs to Sanchez. With Hector Ortiz on at first base, top of the order. Fabulous leadoff batter on deck. Ortiz not with a big lead. Martinez holding. Another one that rides inside, and a 2-0 count on the number 9 hitter Sanchez.
But I think the approach that Kansas City is using is the proper one for their ball club, because they have a lot of young hitters, Gary, and the young hitters are not good at hitting deep into the count. They're not good at protecting the plate with 2 strikes. We've talked about how good the Yankees are in those situations, but a lot of young hitters aren't able to do that.
Strike in the inside corner. Tony Muser. Kansas City Ball Club has had improvement over the past seasons with him at the helm, but 6 consecutive losing years. They haven't been to the playoffs since 1985. They are one of the so-called small market teams in baseball, looking to get back into it.
They used to be one of the dominant teams in the American League. They always faced the Yankees in the playoff. Some of the great moments. Chambliss hit a home run here to beat them, and George Brett hit a home run here to beat the Yankees. I remember watching on television. So they do have a good history there and a lot of tradition there in Kansas City.
You do have that. Now he's trying to make it work. Scott Brocious, thinking there might even be a bunt potential here, moved in a couple of steps. 2 ball 1 strike count, 1 down, and Clemens wants to talk with Jorge Posada, and Martinez wants to know what's coming here as well as he comes in from first base.
Well, earlier, the middle innings, we should say 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th inning, Roger was overpowering the hitters, and most of the balls from the right-hand hitters were going the other way. In fact, you mentioned that Paul O'Neill, had 4 putouts in this ball game already. He may have lost, an inch or 2 on his fastball, so they may have a chance of pulling the ball now, but Brocious thinks that they're still going to hit the ball the other way.
Fans are applauding the sun. Which after the winter they've had in New York is understandable. Or in the Northeast for that matter. Sun has come through the clouds here at Yankee Stadium for the moment anyway. 2-1 strike count. Field bathed in sunlight. Runner is going. Hit and run on to short. Got it behind Soho. Has got to go to first. Didn't hit it hard enough to get it by him, but did force Soho to come back. Ortiz goes to second, but there are 2 down.
Well, it's a good job by Soho. One thing you do not do as a middle infielder, if a guy breaks from first base, you don't just automatically run full speed to the bag. You take a couple of short steps so you can see if the ball is hit, so you can reverse your field if you have to. You see he's not already at the bag. Right there, he's under control, so he's able to stop and go back and get the ball. So that's a lesson for the young players. Don't just run straight to the bag. You kind of slide step the first 2 steps and then go to the bag. Because otherwise, they hit the ball behind you. You have no chance of going back at forward.
With the sun coming out, some of the Yankees wanting to get the sunglasses on. Chuck Knobloch out in left field.
Now that's the tough field when the sun is out. You know, Yankee Stadium, I can remember that from old days when they had the guys out there in left field, the sun shining, and it becomes a very difficult place to play with the sun right over the rooftop here.
Right into your eyes out there. Knobloch has made 1 play and a fly ball out there so far. Runner at second base. Second time Kansas City has gotten a runner there. Last time was in the first. Now Carlos Fablis try and tie this ball game up. Yankees have the 1-0 lead on the Tito Martinez home run. Fablis, 93 games at second base last year, on the DL a few times. Tough season for him physically. Takes the fastball up high. 1-1. He has good speed. Going to be a good leadoff hitter, I think, over time for this ball club, or wherever he may be, and it's probably going to be right here. Fablis against Clemens, 0 for 2 today, 2 for 7 in his career. Way inside, and a 2-1 strike count.
And even though the speed looks about the same, 93, 94 miles an hour from Roger, the fastball that he's throwing this inning does not seem to be having the same movement, the hop on it, that he had earlier in the ball game. There's Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach for the New York Yankees, and he was one that threw out the first ball, as we mentioned earlier.
Coming back from the cancer that he beat last year. 2-1 strike count. Clemens trying to protect that 1-0 lead. Fablis, 290+ hitter with runners in scoring position, comes through again. Knobloch's going to come up with it. Play at the plate. Here comes Ortiz, throws off the mark, and they've tied it up with a big 2-out hit. And down to second goes Fablis, who'll be credited with the RBI. So there's the first play where a throw was required from Knobloch. Ortiz scores.
And with 2 outs, you really do not have a chance to throw a guy at the plate because he's going on contact. Even though, you know, this ball hit in the hole, normally you have to hold up if there's 1 out to make sure. But right here we can see that Ortiz just comes around the bag and running full speed. They really didn't have a chance. But that's what I was trying to say about Clemens. They were hitting the ball the other way. Now all of a sudden they're pulling it. He's still registering 90-something on the mound, but the ball is not moving as much.
That went into the gap in right center field. Williams coming in, diving, and makes the catch. Carlos Beltran denied a hit at an RBI by Bernie Williams. He got a good jump and held on sliding. It's 1-1.
Excuse me, waitress. Bud Light, please. Can I? Oh, there you are. Oh, hey, wait. Can I have a Bud Light, please? Yeah. Hi.
With a great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down.
Hey, I'll be right down. Oh, wait.
Make it a Bud Light.
Carlos Beltran, had that gone through, would have had a go-ahead RBI, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. Bernie Williams caught it.
That's why he wins Gold Gloves. He saves runs.
That's right. Well, Jeff Supan's got a run on the board now. We're tied at 1-1. Luis Soho takes the pitch inside from Supan. Supan finished very strong last year. He started out 2-6 in the first half, but after the All-Star break, he went 8-3, and he lowered his earned run average by 2 whole runs. So Supan hopes he picks up right where he left off. That one fouled down the line the other way. Supan getting the start here, as we said, with Rosado on the DL. He ended up 10-9 with a 4.94 ERA. His overall career record is just 30 wins and 34 losses. He's only faced the Yankees one time, and was last year, and he lost to them. 1-2 delivery. Breaking ball. Did not go around on it. He'll get Scott Brocious, and then the top of the order, Chuck Knobloch, to follow here in the 5th inning. Taken down low, and Supan takes it full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Supan was a very high draft choice by the Boston Red Sox originally. There are the numbers he's put up today. He was the 49th pick overall in '93 by Boston. Soho to center. Beltran. 1 down. Cal Ravitch.
Hi, Gary. You had Tito Martinez hit one out of the yard. Time for some more home runs. Cubs first inning. Lieber, Vidro, man on, man off. That's a shot for Vidro, who had 24 last year. Just like that, the Expos on top of the Cubs. The Chicago bats at the bottom of the first, 2-zip. Meantime, Andrew Jones owns Pete Harnisch. His 3rd home run off of lifetime and 14 at bats. He's hitting .450 against them. It's the Braves 3, the Reds 1.
Without Maddox.
I have to tell you, the ball looked like really carried well there in Cincinnati. I've heard that the wind's going to really help the balls carry well there. That ball from Andrew Jones went a long way. It didn't look like he hit it that well.
I guess they're saying now, Joe, you should take a look at Brocious at the plate. With the wall, with the stands taken down and all the way around, the wind's going to kind of sweep in and then go out towards right.
Yeah, go out.
Come in from left and out to right.
Yeah, that's going to be a little unique ballpark.
Yeah, very different from when they had the stands that entirely surrounded the field. 1-1 delivery is a strike on the outside corner. Brocious had a single in his first at bat. Came back in the 3rd. Yankees homered by Martinez, their only run. Veteran third baseman, 1 ball 2 strike count on him. Outfield straight away. Brocious takes the fastball away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Defensively here, you line it up. Joe Torre's always said you need 2 center fielders, 1 to play left and 1 to play center in this ballpark. Right fielder, it's kind of a normal right field, short porch, but that Death Valley out there in left center, you do a lot of running. And that one is blocked. He went around. Strike 3 called. Ortiz will make the play. That is the first strikeout for Supan in the game. 2nd strikeout for him, and there are 2 down. Big Mac is back. Another attack. St. Louis Cardinals and the Colorado Rockies. Coming up opening day, being presented by Home Depot. The Cardinals at Coors Field to take on Todd Helton and the Rockies. 4 Eastern, ESPN. Will Mike Hampton like his new home from the Mets to the Rockies? He's a ground ball pitcher and swears he can beat that challenge of pitching in Colorado.
Gary, the ground balls go farther in Colorado.
Base hit. Knobloch. I like that.
Yeah, everything goes farther there.
Talking about Death Valley here, left center. The reason Joe Torre says you got to have 2 center fielders is right there. 399, that power alley. I mean, that is a huge piece of grass out there.
Well, you can see how much space there is between Bernie Williams here when they were in the outfield and where Chuck Knobloch plays. So there is a lot for them to cover defensively, meaning the Yankees. And of course, the other team has to cover just as much.
That's right, just as much. 2 down, runner at first base. That one lifted in the air, not hit hard though by Soriano. In the sun. It'll be hauled in by Quinn. So Supan rolling along. No runs, a base hit, 1 left on. Yankees have now stranded 4, just 1 in scoring position. Opening day, 1-1.
Here we go.
Here's your house. Oh, terrific. Here's your house.
She's good. Yes.
Winner. Super.
Stupid!
Okay.
If it were this easy to win a new house,
You get a house.
Yeah.
you wouldn't need to enter the Century 21 Home Run Derby sweepstakes, where you can win $250,000 toward a new home. Enter at a participating office near you.
Hey, he was here yesterday.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
No, I wasn't.
ESPN2's Major League Baseball Opening Day, presented by Home Depot, is brought to you by Warner Brothers' new motion picture, Swordfish, in theaters everywhere this summer.
Great to have you with us, Yankee Stadium. Gary Thorne, Joe Morgan, the king of Queens, on hand as well today. Mike Sweeney, Dye, and then Randa against Roger Clemens, who has walked one and struck out two. Sweeney 0 for 1 and a walk. Clemens trying to improve on the 13-8 mark he had last year. Second best ERA. Now on a towering pop-up at the plate, Jorge Posada. When they're good, they make it look so easy. But that play is so tough. Especially with that sun coming through and a pretty good glare going on here. Let's take a look at our in-game box for the Kansas City Royals, brought to you by the Home Depot.
Well, you can see that Roger Clemens has limited them to 4 base hits and only the 1 run. And he's throwing the ball well. He's just not throwing quite as well as he was in the 2nd and 3rd and 4th inning, but he still knows how to get the job done. You can see now he's going to more off-speed pitches on the first pitch because he probably realized he's lost a little bit on his fastball. But he also, a good pitcher is always able to change. You know, you start off one way and you, by the 3rd time at bat, you want to give them something new to look at.
Everybody adjusts every game, hitters and pitchers.
What's amazing to me is Roger Clemens was 2nd in the league with a 3.07 earned run average last year. Pedro Martinez, 1.7. I mean, that's amazing.
That one in the air to left field, 399. Way back now, block looking, and goodbye home run. A shot over Death Valley by Jermaine Dye. And the Kansas City Royals have a 2-1 lead.
Well, the right-handers are now pulling him where they were not pulling him at the beginning of the ball game. But this looks like a splitter that didn't do as much as it should. Jermaine Dye flew out to right his first time, then he grounded a single in the hole, and now he pulls this pitch over the left field wall. Now, that's a fastball, and it's pretty much in the middle of the plate and down. It was moving towards him a little bit, but it was down.
33 home runs last year for Jermaine Dye, and he kicks off opening day with number 1 this year. And he's got 2 hits, single and a homer off Clemens. And a 2-1 lead. Fastball, strike in the inside corner. Joe Randa 0 for 2. And Dye got all of that one. Really launched that baby. Line drive homer.
Well, I think the key there is that he is just coming into his own. He's going to get better. He had career highs last year as far as home runs and RBIs, and off to a great start here.
This lineup can really be dangerous. Good start today with a 2 for 3.
And one of the things I mentioned, that they're a young lineup, so that's difficult sometimes for a veteran pitcher like Roger, because you do not get a chance to set some of these guys up. You know, you do not get them. You want to get them out with a breaking ball, so you use the fastball in or something else to set them up. Well, they don't give you time to set them up. They're hacking. And young players really do not care about your pitching patterns. They're just going up there swinging.
That one, high ball, hit, little tomahawk chop to center. And Bernie Williams hauls it in. Randa's retired. 2 down here in the 6th inning.
There you see what the Royals did last year, stolen bases, which is almost a lost art now. But, you know, look at that batting average. They were 2nd, and runs scored, they were 5th. So that tells you that they are a very good offensive ball club.
And their ERA was 13th, Joe, and therein lied the problem.
Yeah, but I also believe that the way the game is now, I still think that pitchers are going to get some help this year.
Boy, that's hit hard to center. Williams on a liner. Kind of misjudged it and makes the catch. The ball was diving, and Mark Quinn saying, oh my gosh. Williams has denied a couple. Beltran, he robbed him of a hit, and now Mark Quinn on a sinking line drive. But that man, Jermaine Dye, has given Kansas City their first lead. This first home run of the year. It's 2-1 Royals.
We've got the Mets, Braves in Atlanta.
Well, the Mets have not had too much success in Atlanta. They'll need some big games from both Ventura and Piazza.
Should be a lot of passion, a lot of fire. They hate each other.
Chipper and the Braves battle for Mets in Atlanta.
Coming up in the nightcap, it's Arizona at L.A.
Two powers in the National League West.
Sheffield and the Dodgers stare down the Diamondbacks. Mets, Braves at 7 on ESPN. Diamondbacks, Dodgers at 10 on ESPN2. Wednesday Night Baseball. Wednesday.
Erstwhile Yankee fan Billy Crystal, a great comedian actor, on hand here today, watching the Yankees in this opener along with us. Great to have you with us here on ESPN2. Gary Thorne, Joe Morgan, and our crew, and it's a good one. Royals have the 2-1 lead. Jeff Soupan, and Paul O'Neill stands in against him, and he's got a base hit. Quinn up with it, and O'Neill is on. Second leadoff man in the ball game to get on in an inning for the Yankees. Bernie Williams. Soupan has not walked anybody in this game with 2 strikeouts. He and Clemens both walked 84 last year on the season. Now, though, he's got to work with a runner on. Williams 0 for 2 is flied out and grounded out. Only big blow has been the home run by Tino Martinez. That one taken down low for a ball by Bernie Williams. Big gap in right center. Center fielder Beltran moves a couple of steps over towards left. Playing Williams to take the ball the other way. You got a pretty good hole there in right center field if he pulls that in that gap. 2-0.
Oh, this is the kind of situation where when you play a guy off to the off field like that and your pitcher falls behind 2-0, this is the time I think you should straighten up a little bit, because now he has a chance to pull the ball because he knows it's 2 balls and no strikes, and if he wants to, he can sit on a fastball and pull it.
2-0 delivery. Hitters count there in the dirt. Ortiz stops it, and Beltran, or rather Soupan, is in trouble here. 3-0 count.
Well, he didn't want to throw him a fastball there, so he tried an off-speed pitch, a changeup, and it didn't work.
Bottom of the 6th inning. The Yankees trying to mount a rally. Get some warm-up action. Wilson and Kogan in the bullpen. They've picked up the closer, the Roberto Hernandez, who they hope will make a difference. Williams to center field. Beltran back. 408. Goodbye. Home run. Bernie Williams. 3-2 Yankees.
This is one of those situations where it helps that your manager was a hitter, like Joe Torre. He saw that they were afraid to throw him a 2-0 fastball or something in the strike zone when he got behind the count. So what does he do? He lets him hit 3-0. So he takes the 3-0 pitch and he hits it out of the ballpark. You know, a lot of other managers would make you take there because you're run one down and the runner at first base is 3-0. But Joe Torre, being the hitter, knows what a hitter's thinking. He said, I'm going to let him go right here. So I think that's where Joe Torre really comes in and really helps this ball club a lot of times. And I think he helped them a lot last year when they were struggling. He would help them by hitting and running or letting them hit 3-0. And again, that's a low pitch. I mean, it's just that you watch all of the home runs that we see on SportsCenter each night. Most of them are going to be on low pitches. Everybody says that the pitchers are bad. It's just that these guys have learned to handle that low pitch, and they hit it out of the ballpark.
And the Yankees go right back on top. The single by O'Neill and the homer by Williams. Bernie had 15 at home and 15 on the road last year. And the Yankees lead it 3-2. David Justice, a single, and is grounded out. 1 ball, 1 strike count on the Yankees designated hitter. So for Jeff Supan, that old home run bugaboo has jumped right back on board. Told you he led the league last year, giving up 36, and here in the first game now he's given up that one to Williams and the other to Martinez.
Well, I was watching the way he pitched to Williams, and you could tell that he definitely didn't want to throw him a fastball 2-0. But the point is, if you don't throw it 2-0 and you miss, now he's got 2 or 3 shots at you. So at one point, when you fall behind, you have to say, I'm going to challenge him. I just have to try to make a good pitch.
Now the bullpen action in earnest out there. Missed outside with that. A 2 ball, 1 strike count on Justice with Tino Martinez. 3-1 rather, with Tino Martinez waiting on deck. So that may indicate he's not feeling as strong on the mound as he would like to be. Certainly the coaching staff not feeling as strong as they were an inning ago. And he's given up his first walk. Supan in trouble. Let's check in with Bill Pito. Bill.
Gary, fireworks as well between the Reds and the Braves. John Burkett cruising along until the 6th. 2 aboard. Sean Casey at the bat. Way back and gone. 3-run shot, just like that. All tied up at 4 now, playing the bottom of the 6th. Elsewhere, the White Sox and the Indians. Look out, here comes Chicago. Maglio Ordonez with 2 aboard. That one is gone for a 3-run shot. So the White Sox extend the lead, now lead the Indians 6-1.
Wow. Ordonez can really hit.
Whoa. Maglio. Supan. Not gotten anybody out here in the 6th inning. A single by O'Neill, the homer by Williams, then a walk to Justice. Third base umpire Mike Hudson saying no on the swing, and it's 1-0 on Tino Martinez, who got his home run in the 4th inning. Lined out to short his other time up. Breaking ball misses outside, and Supan falling behind every hitter here in this inning.
Well, you can see that he has lost some confidence in his fastball. But again, when you get a guy 2-0 like he had Bernie Williams, you can still throw him a fastball, throw it away. And if you miss with it, so what? But he's looking for a fastball, so he may help you out by swinging at it. But if you try to throw him a 2-0 changeup, he's not going to swing at it. And then you fall deeper behind, and then you just dig a real hole for yourself. Just because guys hit home runs, you can't stop using the fastball. You just have to use it in better location and try to get them to help you out every once in a while.
9 of the last 10 pitches by Supan have been balls. The only one he threw for a strike left the ballpark. And there's another one. A 3-0 count.
And I guarantee you Joe Torre's going to let Tino Martinez swing if he gets the pitch he wants right here.
So Supan struggling here. 3-0, runner at first. Strike taken. It wasn't the one he wanted to swing at. 3-1.
Again, I think all the guys are looking for something down that they can pull and hit out of the ballpark. And that's the way you should. When you get ahead in the count, 3-0, you shouldn't be thinking of hitting a single or left field.
Tino Martinez, 3-1. Lead at first for Justice, and he's on. And Supan's about done. 2 consecutive walks after he had not walked a batter, and he can't throw strikes here in this inning. So the decision will come from Tony Muser. Pitching coach Brent Strom talking with him.
I think he's already made a decision. He's going to leave him because the guys in the bullpen are ready. We know that. So if he was going to take him out, I think he would go.
Santiago's up now. The right-hander along with Kogan.
Well, maybe he's going to change to Santiago then, because the guys that were out there were already warmed up.
He's going to go with a left-hander. Well, Joe, this is where the story will be written for the Kansas City Royals in large part. Last year, their entire staff struggled. They had virtually no bullpen. Jeff Supan, their starter, with a homer off Williams, is out.
Welcome, Miss Planet contestant.
Hey, Bearman!
Oh, it's the last one. Ladies, tell me briefly why you deserve this frost-brewed Coors Light.
Because the silver can shines like a beacon of freedom. Like the first Coors Light, I am pure and also born in the mountains.
Yes, you are.
I deserve the Coors Light. Because I said so.
We have a winner!
She's the one.
Jeff Supan unable to get anybody out here in the 6th inning, giving up a 2-run homer and then walking 2 the first 2 in the game for him. is now out of there. And the bullpen, here is Tony Kogan out of Stanford, where he played college ball. 24-year-old Joey makes his major league debut right now.
Well, this is a different. Hey, coming into Yankee Stadium against the world champions for your first major league appearance with a couple of runners on. That it doesn't get much more difficult than that.
We were talking, Joe, he's only thrown 58 games in the minors because he's only played in the minors for a year plus. So not a lot of pro ball experience even. And he's got Justice and Martinez on base with nobody out. The Yankees now have a 3-2 lead. Well, and Jorge Posada's up.
I think he wanted to bring in the left-hander to make Posada hit from the right side. Obviously, it's easier to double him up. But Posada is a much more bigger threat from the left side as far as home runs are concerned.
Timeout taken here. Kogan waiting to throw his first pitch at the major league level. And he'll need to be fine here in this inning as the Yankees are threatening to have a big inning. Posada takes the off-speed pitch outside, ball one. Not a hard thrower, soft tossing lefty who moves it around. Likes to finesse it on the corners when he can, not going to overpower hitters. Got his work cut out here. Jorge Posada last year, .321 off left-handers, with 6 of his 28 home runs off southpaws. 1-0 delivery to him. Posada takes it inside. The Yankee catcher's up on the count, 2-0.
Sometimes a pitching staff has problems over the course of the year because sometimes it's a matter of philosophy. That's why pitching coaches, different pitching coaches are called in at times. They change pitching coaches and people will get fired because it's a matter of philosophy. And I want to go over something about Supan and his philosophy when we get a chance.
Okay, Joe, 2-0 count here. Kogan's pitch inside corner.
Because I think it's a matter of philosophy of how he pitched this inning that got him in trouble. You know, trying to make pitches 2-0, trying to throw changeups. He threw 2 consecutive changeups to guys after he got the count 2-0. I think that's a matter of philosophy rather than execution. And I still think he was throwing the ball okay, but his philosophy and his mental state changed. He had a lot of confidence early in the game.
Outside with it, a 3-ball, 1-strike count on Jorge Posada from Tony Kogan, making his major league debut for KC with 2 on for the Yankees.
And the one thing pitchers have to understand, you're going to have to throw the guy a pitch sooner or later, whether you throw it 1-0 or the first pitch or 2-1 or 3-1. Now it's 3-1. Now he's got 2 shots at you as a pitcher. You can't let this get that deep into the count.
3-1 delivery. Posada swinging deep to left field. This one way back. 399. 3-run homer. Goodbye.
As I was just trying to point out, you can only run so far before you have to give the guy a pitch to hit. So why wait till it's 3-1 and he knows it and everybody in the ballpark knows that 3-1 fastball is coming. You throw it earlier in the count.
6-2 Yankees. A 3-run homer for Jorge Posada. Sanchez. Soho retired.
Well, when you get 3-1, he knows it's a fastball and he's sitting on it, and he's trying to do more than hit a single with it. You can see that he extended, and that was his home run swing, and he hit a home run. When you get a guy, when a hitter gets you in the hole, 3 balls and 1 strike or 3 balls and no strikes, don't expect him to slap the ball the other way.
2 of those runs that crossed on the homer by Jorge Posada charged to Jeff Supan. Kogan responsible for Posada. Swung on a miss by Scott Brocious. So the Yankees exploding some of that historical Bronx bomber type offense. 3 home runs in the game, 2 off Supan, 1 off Kogan. Bernie Williams, 2 RBIs on his dinger. 3 on that one. There's another base hit. Tino Martinez a solo homer as well. Brocious is on. He's 2 for 3 today. So we were talking about those corners. Well, Tino Martinez has had a homer, a walk, and 2 runs scored. Brocious has had 2 singles. And Tony Muser seeing what happened last year happening again in Game 1 this year. A bullpen that just struggles. Runner at first, 1 down. Leadoff batter Chuck Knobloch. And a breaking ball, curveball inside to him, ball 1. .1-0 count on Knobloch. Singled his last time up. Has struck out and hit into the double play, which the Kansas City Royals are looking to do again right here if they can. 1-1 on Knobloch. Kansas City, to improve their record, they've got to get over these numbers. 58 blown saves, 2 seasons. ERA. Lost 6 games when leading going into the 9th last year. Tough losses.
But I think they've tried to cure that by obtaining Roberto Hernandez as their stopper. That should stop some of that. But again, I really believe that, you know, pitching philosophy has more to do with winning and losing than just the guy's stuff out there on the mound. And I think that's something that you have to look at.
2-1 count here. Joe, we talk about the willingness to challenge hitters.
Right.
You got to do that in order to win.
You have to, and you have to do it in certain situations. You do not want to dig the hole so deep that all of a sudden he's got 2 pitches coming. He knows that I'm going to have to throw him a fastball 3-0, 3-1, and 3-2. He knows I'm going to have to throw him a fastball 3-1 and 3-2 with those runners on. So why not throw it earlier in the count?
3-1 delivery here. Knobloch fouls it off, full count. 6 runs, 10 hits for the Yankees. 2 runs, 5 hits for the Kansas City Royals. And the Yankees with a big 6th inning. Their first 6 men to the plate. 5 men scored. Williams with a 2 RBI homer, and then Jorge Posada with a 3 RBI shot. Still only 1 away. Opening days have not been kind to Kansas City. They're 11-21. And if you take away the expansion teams, Tampa Bay and Arizona, Royals have the worst opening day record of any team in the majors. The Yankees are trying to add to those woes. Runner goes outside anyway. Logan gives up the walk. 2 on, 1 down. And we're probably going to get another pitching change right here. Tony Muser on his way out. We'll get the 3rd pitcher on in this inning. Santiago coming out of the bullpen. Major League debut. Tony Kogan won't forget it, even though he'd like to.
As the Final Four winds down, turn to ESPN to keep up. Inside analysis from Chris, Digger, and Dickie V.
The best sporting event of them all.
With round-the-clock coverage and live sports centers from Minneapolis, ESPN's got the Final Four covered.
Bill Pito back in the studio. White Sox Indians, bottom of the 6th. Cleveland down 6-1. Juan Gonzalez, first game as an Indian. And there it goes, makes it 6-2. But the White Sox have since added another. They're now up 7-2 in the bottom of the 7th. Braves and the Reds. We're all tied up at 4 in the 7th. Rafael for call. Already with 2 sac flies. A solo home run here. He's got 3 RBIs. Braves up 5-4, top 7.
Here's what we're talking about Cincinnati, the construction going on there. Jose Santiago's on the mound. Yankees have 2 on base. And Alfonso Soriano is the 9th man to hit in this inning. There you see the 26-year-old right-hander out of Puerto Rico. Numbers last year, 8-6, only 2 saves. He was one of those who suffered in the bullpen. He blew 6 of 8 save opportunities, and he allowed 21 of 33 inherited runners to score. Popped up right field. Jermaine Dye settles under that one. And Soriano is retired for the 2nd Yankee out of the 6th. Three pitchers in the inning. Supan, Kogan, Santiago. Yankees looking for a big 2-out hit now. Scott Brocious, who delivered a single. Lead runner at second. Chuck Knobloch, who drew the walk, is on at first base. And an opportunity for Paul O'Neill, who started this whole thing in the 6th inning with a single.
And he just slapped a single to left field to get it started.
1 for 3 in the ball game for O'Neill. This is the first time in 39 years the Yankees have had 3 home runs in an opening game. How about in the home opener here at Yankee Stadium? 3 of them up on the board so far. O'Neill a slow roller. Sweeney. And that will do it. So Santiago comes on and gets it done, but not before the Yankees have a 5-run 6th inning. Bernie Williams with a 2-run homer and Jorge Posada with a 3-run shot. Yankees lead it 6-2.
Only ESPN Classic brings you Sports Century, the top 50 and beyond. Profiling sports' greatest legends. You know what made them heroes. We show you what made them human.
He drank. He chased girls. This guy's a chameleon. This guy's an Uncle Tom.
The lives you don't know.
He was a terribly, terribly insecure human being.
The secrets you never heard.
Many of his teammates hated his guts.
Stories you only hear on Sports Century. Every weeknight at 8 Eastern. But to get it, you've got to call 1-800-CLASSIC today.
ESPN2's Major League Baseball opening day is presented by Home Depot, where low prices are just the beginning. And in part by Holiday Inn, who gives you more, and more is better.
Yankee Stadium, the 72nd year that the house that Ruth built has been the home for the New York Yankees, formerly the New York Highlanders. And a full house obviously here today. And now the Kansas City Royals going to have to mount a comeback against Roger Clemens, D. Brown, Hector Ortiz, and Ray Sanchez, bottom 3rd as we go to the 7th inning. 0 for 2 for the designated hitter, D. Brown.
Well, I think we're going to find out something about the Yankee bullpen today also, Gary. We've seen a little bit more of the Kansas City bullpen and a little bit of what they had last year. But for the Yankees, you expect Clemens to go maybe the 7th inning. I don't think you expect him to go much more. And then you wonder how they get to Mariano Rivera. And I think that's one of the big things that Joe Torre is going to have to think about this year is how is he going to get to Rivera? Because Romero Mendoza is on the disabled list. I think he's the guy they're counting on whenever he's healthy.
Jeff Nelson is gone. Here's the 1-2 delivery. Fouled off into the seats.
They've got some guys down there that they're figuring on using for one hitter or something. And, you know, they still have Stanton, of course. But that guy right there is the key to their bullpen. And how they're going to get to him this year is going to determine whether they win or, you know, lose the Eastern Division.
1 ball, 2 strike count. Roger Clemens. 1 complete game last year. 1 the year before. They don't try. He's not looking for complete games. No. As Joe said, that time in his career has gone. Especially when you got Mariano Rivera in the bullpen as the game's best closer.
Then you have to remember, you know, the pitchers do not pitch 9 innings in spring training.
Yep.
So you figure you're not going to send him out there for 9 innings, even if he's cruising.
1-2 delivery. Brown up the middle for the base hit. So that's what the Royals need. Base runners, and D. Brown picks up a leadoff single off Clemens. And they get the leadoff man on for the first time in the ballgame.
And that was excellent hitting there by D. Brown. He lined out the center field his first time up. Bernie Williams took a base hit from him. But with 2 strikes, he just kind of goes the other way. Watch this. Not a big swing. Just a put me in play swing right there. We saw that from David Justice. And it worked very well for some left-handed hitters. Flip it the other way.
You never know out there right now if they're actually loosening up a little bit, walking around, or just trying to stay warm. And the pitch is inside to Hector Ortiz, who had a single and scored in the 5th. Home run by Jermaine Dye, and the RBI single by Carlos Fabus. The 2 RBIs today off Roger Clemens, who has walked 1, struck out 2. Fastball missed inside, and he falls behind 2-0. not figuring we're going to see Ortiz pull. The Yankees aren't. They move Williams, the center fielder, a couple of steps over towards right. Very light breeze we've had today, which has generally been blowing out towards left or left center most of the day, but not enough to affect anything. The home runs have been shots, all of them. Way up and out, and a 3-0 to Ortiz. Now he will not be swinging.
No. And the last thing you want to do if you're Roger Clemens with a 4-run lead is to walk a hitter. You want to make them earn everything they get. Even if the guy gets a base hit, you'd rather see him get a base hit than to walk him.
Joe Torre. Let him go here. We got a lot of great baseball action on this opening day still to come. ESPN2, the Padres and the Giants, 4 o'clock Eastern. The A's and the Mariners tonight, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, all coming up on ESPN2. Opening day. Gary Thorne, Joe Morgan, happy to have you with us here at Yankee Stadium for this opener. Got a strike on the take at a 3-ball 1-strike count. Only 3 3-ball counts today by Roger Clemens, and only 1 walk. That came back in the first inning to Mike Sweeney. Clemens, opposition, hit .236 off him last year, 4th best number in the American League. 3-1 is foul back, so Clemens battles back and gets the count full at 3-2. Joe was mentioning who might get up to work here. Well, Stanton and Williams are the 2. Start loosening up for the Yankees.
Todd Williams looks a little bit like Jeff Nelson, didn't he? Pretty big guy.
3-2. Clemens with 2 strikeouts. Chance at another one here off Ortiz. Good opening day start so far for the Rocket. Looking for his 261st career win and looking to catch Walter Johnson maybe today. He can get a couple of more Ks for 7th all time and number 1 in the American League. 3-2. Well, he only needs 1 more now.
Every time Roger has tried that fastball in with 2 strikes, he's been able to get the hitter looking. And take a look at this fastball. Look at the target. Right there, hits the target inside corner, strike 3. So that's exactly where he was going with that pitch. He'd thrown a couple of pitches out over the plate, get the hitter looking out there, and then right in under the hands.
Hang a K, sports fans. 1 down. Sanchez takes the pitch down low for a ball. Great to see Dwight Gooden here today. Doc, of course, retired when he found out he wasn't going to make the Yankee team. The Yankees honored him today as they had he and Scooter, Phil Rizzuto, and Dave Winfield and Yogi Berra introduced before the game. Then the 4 of them went out to left field and helped pull the banner up, the World Championship banner, and part of the opening ceremonies here at Yankee Stadium. Sanchez grounded towards second base. Soriano 1. Soriano, nice play at first, turns 2. Opening day, Yankee Stadium, 7th inning stretch time. Double play for the rookie Soriano. The Yankees leading the Royals 6-2. Stand and sing with us, won't you?
When Hank Aaron played in the minors, he batted cross-handed, left hand over right. When a scout suggested he try it the other way, Aaron flipped his hands around and proceeded to hit 3 home runs in his very first game. And, of course, a few more after that.
Hey, nothing beats an original. Original Coors, brewed with Rocky Mountain water.
Original Coors. It's all in the wrist.
It's the ESPN Action Sports and Music Awards, fueled by Mountain Dew, hosted by Rebecca Romaine Stamos, LL Cool J, and Chris Klein. Plus, a special live performance by the original members of Black Sabbath, Tuesday, April 10th on ESPN.
Number 51.
Soriano. Roger Clemens saying thank you very much for turning 2.
And Roger has always been very appreciative of the defense behind him. He always takes the time to let the defensive players know that.
Bernie Williams will be leading it off. We'll have our 4th Kansas City pitcher, Chris Wilson. A 24-year-old comes on for Jose Santiago. There is Wilson out of Washington, D.C. And the pitch is taken for a strike. Played with Kansas City in 20 games last year. His first major league appearance last season. He's on a football scholarship at Georgia Tech, where he played quarterback, and then decided baseball was going to be his game. 0-1 delivery. Inside corner strike from Wilson. 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball misses down low. Bernie Williams. Home run, 6th inning. And he'll blow it open and chase out Supan.
Well, he's made a couple of catches, of one that saved a run, and then he kept the rally from being started here. And then he hit the home run off Supan to put the Yankees ahead.
And he takes that pitch inside. 2-ball, 2-strike count from Chris Wilson. Bottom half of the 7th inning. 6-10-0 for the Yankees. 2-6-0 for the Royals. To the Kansas City Royals against New York, a .431 win percentage. Going back to the first game they ever played. They have really struggled against the Yankees. That pitch is taken and he goes to 3-2. So Wilson is behind, and the bullpen woes of Kansas City showing up early. Yeah, it's only game 1, but they saw this last year. You saw Tony Music kind of lean down after the count went to 3-2. Switch hitter Williams up the middle, base hit. Hit number 11 for New York. Beltran will get it back in. Leadoff man on here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Let's take a look at our in-game box score for New York, brought to you by Home Depot.
Well, the key hits, of course, of Bernie Williams, 2-run homer, and the 3-run homer by Jorge Posada, but the Yankees have hit the ball pretty well. The only one without a base hit in the starting lineup, Luis Sojo.
And David Justice, the designated hitter for the Yankees, drew a walk and scored in the 6th inning. He singled back in the 2nd. Wilson's pitch is outside for a ball. Justice, great production out of that designated hitter role primarily. Williams off first. That one off the end of the bat, cued. Sanchez, nice play, one relay. They do not get to.
I tell you what, that's excellent attempt there by Sanchez and Fabulous. I mean, that is a tough place to make. Watch how quickly now Sanchez gets over, gives him a good throw off balance, but he gives him a good throw up. There you see Fabulous turn it, and not quite in time. Justice hustled and beats it at first base, but that's a nice turn. Tough ball to try to make 2 on, deep in the hole at shortstop, because that requires 2 long throws. Normally you want 1 short throw and 1 long throw to turn a double play.
Got the lead runner. Now 1 away, and Tino Martinez. Good stop made by Ortiz. Martinez with a big day. The home run came in the 4th. Got that walk in the 6th and scored, crossing the plate twice. Hoping up those numbers from last year. Martinez gets another base hit. Hit it hard. Dies in that outfield grass. Beltran up with it. Down to second base goes David Justice. 2 on, 1 away. And the Yankees piling it up on Tony Musa's Kansas City Royals in game 1.
Well, these are not bad pitches. Again, that pitch is down, and Tino hits it back through the middle for a base hit.
Well, Joe Torre has to be real happy about this day 1 start offensively. Jorge Posada, 3-run homer in the 6th inning. The Yankee catchers had a couple of hits, 2 for 3 today. Remember, Torre's club is having to do without Derek Jeter in the lineup, probably until Saturday. a rookie at second base, and Knobloch in left, and anything that takes the heat off those players early is a good thing for the Yankees. No one's going to talk about Knobloch in left. Nothing but good things to say so far about the play at second base by Soriano. Everybody's smiling. They're winning. You want that early on.
I think it's an interesting thing. This is the first time the Yankees have opened at home in the last 6 years. Derek Jeter has never started an opening day game here in Yankee Stadium.
It's amazing. Huh?
Yeah, it is amazing. And I expected them to play well today because they were here to see that banner rising on opening day that, you know, they'd won the championship last year.
Gap in right center field. That's going to fall in. Beltran over to get it. David Justice will score. Willie Randolph holding up Martinez. And a double and an RBI for Jorge Posada. 4 RBIs for the Yankee catcher. Seven to 2 New York.
Actually, I don't have to look at the pitch. I know it's down. And I mean, it's very simple. Every pitching coach in the world tells you to pitch down. But all these hitters now are better low ball hitters than they are high ball hitters. I think that you have to move the ball up and down in the strike zone now, not just stay down all the time.
Joe, they have certainly proven your point in this game.
Yeah, I think if you watch every game, Gary, I mean, I watched the games yesterday the same way. I think you have to move the ball up and down in the strike zone now. These hitters are so good that you have to change their eye level.
Infield is in. That's why holding the runners. Sanchez makes the play to first on Soho. Retires him, and we'll check in with Bill Pito. Bill.
All right, Gary. Pedro Martinez, first batter of the year. Brady Anderson of the Baltimore Orioles, and Pedro rings him up and sits him down. Retires the side in the first, zip in the second. Meantime, Ken Griffey Jr. off the bench, the pinch hit with a bad hammy, tying run aboard, and Mike Rumlinger rings him up and sits him down. Braves have since added a run. 6-4. Copy.
Well, you see Pedro, he pitched up, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Punched him out.
Now there are 2 down, so the infield can drop back. Chris Wilson facing Scott Brocious. 2 in scoring position for Brocious, who singled back in the 3rd. Got another one in the 6th. The Yankees up 7-2, and a base hit here would add 2 more. Outside with a slider. 1 ball, 1 strike count. 7 runs on 13 hits now for the Yankees today. 90 away. '24-year-old right-hander. 1-1. Outside corner strike. 1-2 on Brocious. Opening day, Yankee Stadium, and the Yankee fans have had a lot to cheer about. Delighted to have you with us here. Opening day presented by Home Depot. Gary Thorne, Joe Morgan, and our crew on hand. Roger Clemens looking for the opening day win. Right now with a 7-2 lead. He's gone the distance for the Yankees. Jeff Suppan would be the loser if the Yankees maintain this lead. And a 2 ball, 2 strike count on Brocious.
This is Roger Clemens' 11th opening day appearance start in his career. He's been an ace for a long time, right?
Long time.
Long time. 4 Cy Young awards.
With Boston, of course. Opening day starter there. Swung on a miss. Good off-speed delivery. Tag out made on the ball dropped, and Brocious is retired. But the Yankees add another. They do it on 3 hits, and they leave 2 on. 7 complete. World champions lead it.
Hey, beer man, one for the groom-to-be?
Bachelor party, eh? Well, this is Frost Brewed Coors Light. Are you ready for that kind of commitment?
Yeah.
Please rise. Stand up. Do you take this can to be your very own? Do you promise to love, honor, and cherish every ounce of this Rocky Mountain refreshment?
I do. Told myself I wasn't going to cry.
If anyone here has reason why these two should not be joined together, speak now. Beer man. Oh, there you go.
Tradition. Opening day at Yankee Stadium. That sign is true, and winning never gets old. Roger Clemens knows that, going for the victory here today for the Yankees as we go to the 8th inning.
Maybe he is going 9.
Well, pitch counts down. Bullpen's quiet. Kansas City has left only 4 on base, 2 in scoring position. He has walked just 1. and struck out 3. So both of those things have kept the count down, Joe. Both the non-walks and the non-strikeouts. So he's only thrown 89 pitches. Knocked it down. Makes the play. Bayless retired.
I don't know where that ball hit him.
Looked like it hit him right on the belt. Gene Monahan, head trainer, comes out.
Must have bothered him a little bit because otherwise he would have waved him off. Actually, I'm not so sure it didn't hit him on the arm, his bare arm. Couldn't see from that angle. But he usually, if it doesn't bother you, you wave the guy off. You say, I'm okay. And he did allow him to come out. Must be his arm. They're going to let him throw. Yeah, they're going to let him throw a couple of pitches. Must have hit him on his right arm. We'll get a better look at it here. Right back through the middle, and it gets him on his right arm. But he says he's okay.
So they'll keep a close eye on him, and that may decide that if he gets through this inning, that would be it. The Rocket says he's all right. There you see the numbers. A very effective start. You can see a mark there on his arm, Joe, right to the red spot. Sure looks like that's where it hit him.
Well, that appeared to be the area that it hit him in from the replay.
Right there, you can just see it above the wrist. Strike on the outside corner. 1-1. Carlos Beltran 0 for 2. Last 2 times up at a single. So overall 1 for 3 on the day for Beltran. Which Carlos Beltran will this team see this year? It will make a world of difference. The Kansas City Royals. That one swung on and
gets a piece of Posada back there.
So this has been a tough inning for the battery. Clemens and Jorge Posada have had to pay a price. And the umpire, who always favors the catchers, dusts off the plate to let Jorge Posada regroup. There's always some spot unprotected. It'll get you. A strikeout here, and Roger Clemens ties the American League all-time lead. He has 3 in the game. 2 ball, 2 strike count. He would move into a tie for 7th all-time in strikeouts. With Walter Johnson. 2-2 delivery. He's done it.
No.
No.
Foul ball.
All right, we'll do it again.
Foul ball.
Said it was foul tip. That was just a rehearsal. Tim Welke. Clemens going, what? Joe Torre saying what too.
Well, it appears that he didn't touch the ball at all, and I think that's what Posada is saying, and I think that's what Torre is saying, that they didn't touch it. But you know, it's very difficult to tell whether he got a piece of it. The umpire knows. And
somewhere Walter Johnson is saying, hang on, you're
not so fast.
You're only a step away. 2-2 delivery. All right, did he do it?
Yes.
Tag him. He got it. And as the song said, you know, it don't come easy. Roger Clemens has just tied Walter Johnson, the all-time strikeout mark in the American League, and 7th all-time, 3,508.
A lot of strikeouts.
That one hit in the air to left field, way back. Knobloch in the corner near the fair pole, and it is a foul ball. Mike Sweeney gave it a ride. but it's just strike one. So Roger Clemens continues that climb among the immortals in pitching. Looking at a man who will be in the Hall of Fame, first ballot. And who knows what the numbers will look like. He's 38 years old. 13-8 last year. Olympic type regimen and workouts during the off season. He feels he has come into this season in the best shape maybe that he's ever been in. And now the fans are up because he's got a chance to move past Walter Johnson if he can strike out Mike Sweeney.
You know what'll be interesting here, Gary? He is a power pitcher. He struck Beltran out with a splitter. Power pitchers, when they try to break records, they usually try to do it with a fastball. Let's see what he does here.
Right back to him.
It was a fastball.
And that probably will be the last out he will get in the game, as he'll probably come out. He retires the side in order here in the 8th inning. 1, 2, 3. Roger Clemens, a dominant performance over 8 innings, with the Yankees leading it 7-2.
Come on, man, we only got an hour before school.
Opening day at Yankee Stadium. Gary Thorne, Joe Morgan back with you. And for the Kansas City Royals, the Yankee Bombers have done just that with a 7-2 lead. 3 home runs in the ball game. Tino Martinez, solo shot. Bernie Williams, 2 RBI homer. Jorge Posada, 3 RBI homer. And this will be the 5th Kansas City pitcher. The indefatigable Doug Henry, 37-year-old right-hander who's been around.
He's been around. And the Giants and the Astros, he's pitched a lot of different ball clubs.
Part of this revised bullpen of the Kansas City Royals.
Well, Gary, they felt like they had a lot of young guys out there last year, and they wanted to bring in more veteran presence, and they did so. You know, we talked about Roberto Hernandez being the closer. Also, Doug Henry. And they just wanted to get more of a veteran presence. Maybe they felt like that would help some of the young players, young pitchers out there. And I think it will.
Yeah.
Over the course of the season, I think they will benefit from that.
Learn from the veterans on how to pitch out of that pen. Knobloch, the 2 for 4. Actually 1 for 3 and a walk. Takes the pitch that bounces all the way to the backstop. Henry was with Houston and San Francisco last year. He'd pitched with the New York Mets and Milwaukee before that. And it had taken him 6 years in the minors before he ever made it to Milwaukee back in '91 for the first time. So he has been around. 2-0 count. And Knobloch takes a strike on the outside corner.
Jason Brindley, who really helped the Yankees last year at the beginning of the season when they were struggling, is also in the Royals bullpen this year.
In the 8th inning here at Yankee Stadium, Knobloch to right, not quite. Sweeney was there, hauls it in. Knobloch's retired. Yankee Stadium, improvements made every year. This year, one that's very distinctive. In order to make room for handicapped seating, plexiglass has been installed in left field, almost all the way over to the corner to the power alley. First time that's not been fully padded out there.
And it could be dangerous because it's not padded, but they didn't have any places in this older type stadium, you know, for handicapped people to be able to sit and watch the game. So I think it's a good addition to Yankee Stadium.
It's going to be interesting out there because there is now a ledge. As you see Mayor Giuliani, there's a ledge in that plexiglass out there that balls can actually hit and just bounce all over the place. And the Yankees have worked with Chuck Knobloch in particular out there, because that ledge runs all the way along where the plexiglass hits the blue. Yeah.
Right along there.
Right in there. So I'm going to see some balls take some hops out there in the course of this season. Well, for Soriano, a successful introduction into starting at second for the Yankees. Soriano Fine double play. He turned out there behind Clemens. He's picked up a hit in the ball game. 1 ball, 2 strike count on him. Joe, I was looking at the DL. If you put out on the field the team that is now in the DL around Major League Baseball, it is scary.
Starting with Derek Jeter here and Nomar Garciaparra.
Yeah. You got Valentin could play third base. Zahn would be the catcher. You could have Mo Vaughn at first base, Adam Kennedy at second, John Jaha, Reggie Sanders in the outfield, Mitch Molesky would be a starting catcher, all on the DL. And when you start going through the pitchers, it's unbelievable. 1-2 delivery. Down to third. Fine play by Randa. Denies Soriano of an extra base hit. How about this list? Cone, Saberhagen, Gordon, Schwannard, Alvarez, Guzman, Rosado. Look at this play at third. Randa. That's a fine play.
That's what you call having good hands.
Smoltz, Washburn, Hitchcock, Reynolds, Benson, Schmidt, and Cordova, all from Pittsburgh. Kevin Brown, Nagy, Wright, Garrett Stevenson, Alan Mills, all on the DL to start the year. I mean, that would be a team you'd put up against just about anybody if you had them all together.
A lot of injuries in spring training this year. A lot of players on the DL.
Ken Griffey didn't go there. You saw he came on as a pinch hitter in their ball game today and was struck out, not playing. Mel Stottlemyre. You see where he's pointing? I think he's telling right there where that's where Roger got hit, Clemens. So the bullpen action's going on. Clemens is going to be coming out of the ball game. O'Neill inside outs that one to left. Quinn puts it away. 1-2-3 inning for Doug Henry. Mel Stottlemyre, pitching coach of the Yankees, has made the call to the bullpen. The Yankees 3 outs away from an opening day win. They lead it 7-2.
With his fast break style, pinpoint alley-oops, and no-look passes, he revolutionized basketball. The fact is, Magic Johnson was one of those rare athletes who could dominate a game without even taking a shot.
Hey, nothing beats an original. Original Coors, brewed with Rocky Mountain water.
Original Coors. Now that's a no-look pass.
Sometimes there are opening day surprises. We may get one here because Joe Torre and Mel Stottlemyre have decided not to make the change. They've got a bullpen ready if needed, but Roger Clemens is going to get a chance here in the 9th inning to throw an opening day complete ball game.
Well, it does surprise me because the score is 7-2, and you feel like, you know, he hasn't pitched 9 innings in spring training. But I think Joe, they already alerted the bullpen, as we saw. They've alerted him that if he gets in any trouble, they're going to come get him because he did get hit on the right arm.
So Roger Clemens will try not to have to go there. See if he can get a 1-2-3 inning. Clay Ballinger has gotten up a left-hander in the bullpen, but Clemens is going to go for the complete game. A left fielder, Clay Ballinger, others in, as Chuck Knobloch has come out. We'll see a lot of that this year, I'm sure, with Joe Torre defensively. Well, Knobloch's going to play out there.
Yeah, they're going to take Knobloch out, but they're not going to take Soriano out. They're going to use a defensive replacement in left field only.
So Clemens is going for the complete game. He's had 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Clay Ballinger's in left field, and the Yankees have a 7-2 lead here in the 9th inning. 100th pitch coming up. 1-1 delivery. Taken down low by Randa. You got the middle of the order, Jermaine Dye, followed by Randa and then Quinn, due up here. So, some power, but they need some base runners first. That one will be fouled off. Well, the fans will get up again, as Roger Clemens will get another shot at besting Walter Johnson, whom he is now tied with in strikeouts all time.
And we're in that same situation. Let's see if he tries to remain a power pitcher or if he's going to try to get him with a splitter.
That's down the line, and a fair ball bounces off the corner of the stands. He's going to try for 2. Clay Ballinger's throw bounces away. It'll be a double for Dye, leading off the 9th inning.
Well, he tried to get him out with a splitter, and it was down. I mean, he ripped it inside the bag at third. There it is. Actually, it's a slider rather than a splitter, but it's down, and Jermaine Dye rips it inside the bag.
Yeah, keep it alive, and now the question over there is how long do you wait before going to the bullpen for the Yankees? Clemens. They've got the big lead, 7-2.
The only danger here is not so much the danger of losing the ball game. The danger here is of spoiling a great outing that Roger Clemens had thrown up here on the opening day. You know, this is a big confidence builder for Roger. And if he ends up struggling and has to be taken out of the ball game, then it changes his whole attitude or his approach the next time out.
He's got Randa, 1 ball, 1 strike count. Clemens looking for his 20th win lifetime against the Kansas City Royals. Pretty assured he's going to get that. Guy on at second base. Randa's gone 0 for 3. Another late cut. Files it off the scoreboard on the first base side. 1-2. Here we go again. We welcome those of you watching games around the country. Yankee Stadium. Roger Clemens has a 1-2 count here on Joe Randa. If he gets the strikeout, he passes Walter Johnson in K's. That one bounces away and down to third base will go Dye. So a runner at third base here in the 9th inning. The Yankees have the 7-2 lead. Roger Clemens has gone the distance for the Yankees with a walk and 4 strikeouts. Yankees have had 3 home runs in the ball game. Tino Martinez, Bernie Williams, and a 3-run blast by Jorge Posada, the Yankee catcher. Jermaine Dye has homered. Fables has the other RBI for KC. 9th inning. 2-2 count, nobody out, runner at third, and Clemens step off. Clemens has had only 1 complete game in each of the last 2 seasons. He's trying to get one here in the opener. Swung on and missed, and Roger Clemens passes Walter Johnson on the all-time strikeout list. He is now number 7. And now Joe Torre will take him out of the game, and the Yankee fans will have a chance for an extended congratulatory standing ovation. He is the all-time leader in strikeouts in the American League, passing Walter Johnson into 7th place all-time.
And I think there's one thing that has always been key for Roger Clemens. His teammates have all loved him. And you can see this is not just somebody doing this for a guy to set a record. They're doing it because they care about him a lot. And he shows a lot of emotion for them. And
piece of history, Joe.
Well, it's a splitter down and away, and Randa chases it, and he becomes the 3,509th victim for Roger Clemens. Of course, the all-time record is Nolan Ryan, over 5,700. And there you see the split-finger grip, and explodes down and away.
And there's still a little kid in the major leaguer. He wanted it. He wanted it today. So the Yankees will take Clemens out after setting the mark, and will bring in Todd Williams.
And now you see there was a method to Joe's madness, so to speak, by sending him back out there in the 9th inning with a 7-2 lead. Joe wanted to give him an opportunity to do it in front of the home crowd.
Now Clemens doesn't have to answer questions about that for the next 4 or 5 days waiting for his next start.
Correct.
It's all over. Here's Todd Williams.
Well, they're depending on him to help bridge the gap that was created when Jeff Nelson left to go back to Seattle. Ramiro Mendoza is on the disabled list, so at this point Stanton is the only one that Joe had shown a lot of trust in last year. They used Nelson and Stanton almost exclusively down the stretch to get to Mariano Rivera. And so now they're looking for someone to replace Jeff Nelson in that role. They have added Mike Messina, which is a big deal, and everyone talks about the fact that they have a great starting rotation now, and that's true. But that starting rotation is not a rotation that's going to give you 9 innings time in and time out. It's going to be a situation where you have to get to Rivera. They want these guys to pitch 5 innings. Well, they want them to pitch 6+ innings every time out, and then they'll turn it over to the bullpen. And that guy there has been able to close the deal as well as anyone ever. So that's the makeup of this ball club.
Williams on with 1 out, and that one is fouled off. Runner on at third base, Jermaine Dye. Mark Quinn has gone 0 for 3 in the ball game. Todd Williams, 95, was with Los Angeles for opening day, and then minor league activity for him. Williams gets a chance here, as Joe said, to play an important role in the bullpen. That one missed away. Dye will stay at third base as Jorge Posada chases it down. 1 ball, 1 strike count.
Well, with his size and maybe every once in a while the way he slings the ball, he kind of reminds you a little bit of Jeff Nelson. But I think that's going to be a tough role to fill because Nelson has been here so long and done such a great job for Joe.
Pitched in a lot of pressure games. Down low with that and a 2 ball, 1 strike count. Al Stottlemyre and Joe Torre and Don Zimmer. Gene Monahan closest to you there, the trainer, talking to Zim. 2-1 delivery. Missed outside with that. He falls behind. 3 balls and 1 strike. So the Royals making that put away inning a tough one here in the 9th. Quinn, who's got some power, has a chopper this time. Runner coming home. Dye will score. Throw gets away at first. Bad toss made by Williams down and away from Martinez. So a run will score. Jermaine Dye crosses. They do not get the second out of the inning, and down to second base on the air goes Quinn.
Well, he threw a sinker to first base. It was interesting because Dye coming home was kind of trotting in. And watch, he looks at home now. Watch this sinker, sidearm sinker. Look at the ball sink. And it moves away from Tino. Actually handcuffed him more than it was a wild throw. Well, here comes Joe Torre.
Torre doesn't want this to go any further. 7-3 now. Still only 1 away. First error we've had in the ball game. And Todd Williams, that's going to be it. He'll face just the 1 hitter and be charged with the error. And Mariano Rivera warmed up and ready to go on his way in. Memories being made. Opening day at Yankee Stadium. Here on ESPN2. Gary Thorne, Joe Morgan back. Yankees trying to wrap this up against Kansas City. 7-3 lead. And if you're going to wrap up a ball game, there's nobody better at putting the bow on it than Mariano Rivera.
And I think the interesting thing here is the reason they're using him now in a non-save situation is simply because they're off tomorrow. And they'll give him a day to recuperate because normally you'd only use him in a save situation. But like you said, Joe Torre doesn't want this thing to be prolonged too long, and he doesn't want it to get out of hand. So what better way of stopping it than just say, give the ball to Mariano.
Your day to throw on the side. You might as well make the side the middle of the diamond, right? New York Yankees, the Bronx Bombers living up to it today. Tino Martinez in the 4th inning. Off Jeff Supan, the Kansas City starter, delivering the solo blast. Bernie Williams in a big 6th inning. A 2-run shot off Supan. And the Yankees were out in front to stay. Jorge Posada, same inning. Tony Kogan was the pitcher. A 3-run homer for Jorge Posada and a 4 RBI day for Posada, who also had a double and an RBI in the 7th inning. Now the Yankees trying to end it. Runner at second base, Mark Quinn, reaching on the error. D. Brown at the plate. And a fastball from Rivera for a strike.
Does he throw anything else?
I don't think so.
A fastball, then a harder fastball, a cut fastball, and then one that cuts a little bit more.
Left-handers hit 210 off him, right-handers 206. This one to second. Soriano. 2 down.
I think that's what makes him such a great closer. Everyone knows he's coming at you with hard stuff, but you can't handle it.
So Kansas City, only 1 out to work with. Runner over at third base, Mark Quinn, who moved up, but an inconsequential run. Ibanez has come on as the pinch hitter. With 2 away, change your lineup card. Raul Ibanez on to pinch hit for Hector Ortiz, non-roster player. And up high, ball 1, 2 down in the 9th. More baseball action coming your way. Giants, San Diego Padres. One ball, 1 strike. Clemens would be the winner in the opener. Supan would be the loser. Not a save situation, as Joe said. 1-1 misses inside to Ibanez, and a 2-ball, 1-strike count.
Well, the Yankees of 2001 is really basing a lot on their starting pitching, and Roger Clemens was the starter today, and he did the job for them. But they also showed that they may be a little different team this year. The Bronx Bombers, they were bombing the ball today.
Boy, they were. Yankee fans, 55,814 for opening day. On their feet, waiting for Rivera to wrap this up. 3-ball, 2-strike count. 7-3 Yankees out hitting KC 13-7 so far. Ibanez waiting on the 3-2, broken bat, foul ball. Yankees last year good at both on the road and at home. Went 44-36 here, 43-38 on the road. Tremendous balance. Even though they came away with just 87, I say just 87 because for a team that was going to win the World Series, not a high number of wins. They only had the 9th best win percentage in baseball, incredibly, for the regular season. Didn't matter. Hang another one. 3-2 delivery. Chase that one high and away, still 3-2. They're going to end their regular season losing streak that they went and ended the season with last year. 7 games, 7 regular season games they lost going into the playoffs, and then forgot all about that. Went on to beat everybody in sight, including the Mets. 3-2. Ibanez making it tough here, fouls it off again. 3 foul balls on a 3-2 count.
And I think this team is the same situation it was last year. If they get into the playoffs, they have to be the favorite because with the days off, with the way the playoffs are set up, this team knows how to win and they know how to play under the pressure. So the way to beat them is to keep them from getting to the playoffs.
Ibanez swinging at anything remotely close to his bat and fouling him off. Keeps that count at 3-2. The Yankees have won 56 and lost 41 in their 99-year history now. Trying to add another W opening day. 3-2 delivery. And he walked him. I'll tell you, that's a good at bat right there by Ibanez. He would not give in. And picked up the walk. Took 10 pitches. And there are now runners on at first and third with 2 down. Ray Sanchez. Due up. Luis Alicea has come on as the pinch hitter. So Alicea hitting in the number 9 spot. Kansas City tries to keep a 2-out rally alive here and get to the top part of the order. First and third. Rivera up high, ball 1.
Well, it's very unusual to see Mariano Rivera struggle a little bit. He's been a little wild up with his pitches, and D. Brown, the first hitter he faced, actually hit the ball very sharply to second base.
Runner going to second. This ball down to first could be the ball game. Martinez, and that's it. The Yankees start the defense of their World Championship with a 7-3 win over the Kansas City Royals. 7-13-1 for the Yankees. 3-7-0 for Kansas City. Roger Clemens wins it. 8 1/3 strong inning. Supan takes the loss. 7-3 the final. For Joe Morgan, I'm Gary Thorne. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Stay tuned now for the San Francisco Giants and the San Diego Padres. Chris Berman.